Welcome to ESPN's presentation of Capital One Bowl Week.
As 2008 approaches, we get ready to ring in another new year. But before that happens, we've got one more college football party here in the Georgia Dome.
It's not going to be a happy new year for Clemson.
Auburn plays with a fierce Tiger-like intensity on defense.
This is my last game. I want to win.
Brandon Cox looks to lead his senior class to 50 career wins. And tonight, we could have a new-look Auburn offense.
We're going to show them who the real Tigers are tonight.
The Clemson Tigers have their sights set on their first 10-win season since 1990.
It's going to be a long night for Auburn.
Cullen Harper leads a potent attack with weapons at every spot. Tonight, he hopes to drop the ball to his big play receivers. Don't uncork the champagne yet. The last football game of '07 will have everyone roaring in Georgia. It's a sea of orange at a sold-out Georgia Dome in Atlanta for the Chick-fil-A Bowl as the ACC and the SEC get together one more time. And a happy new year. It's Clemson and Auburn. We know one thing, the Tigers are going to win this ball game, but we're going to have to wait about 4 hours to find out which one. Hi, everybody. An early happy new year to you. I'm Brad Nessler. Welcome to Atlanta. For these two teams, very strong seasons. Maybe a couple of plays here and there, and they wouldn't be in this game. They'd be maybe in a BCS Bowl somewhere. Auburn started off 1-2. Then they went on to win 6 of their next 7. And at that stretch, LSU, with a last-second touchdown pass, was the only team that could beat them. Clemson, meanwhile, they had a little bit of a swoon in mid-season, but then they came on strong. They beat South Carolina in their finale as Auburn beat their hated rivals from Alabama for the 6th year in a row. I bring in my partner, Bob Greasy. And, Robert, when you talk about the Clemson Tigers, you talk about balance and a very good team.
Well, and if you're looking for playmakers, Clemson has got them. They've got running back James Davis, who was second in the conference in rushing. They've got wide receiver Aaron Kelly, who was second in the conference in receiving. These two guys have totaled 22 touchdowns. But the guy I like the best is the quarterback Cullen Harper. He set 22 school records by going along in his first year of starting. I'm really impressed with this kid.
Well, here come the Clemson Tigers. Going for their first 10-win season in 17 years. Clad in the white jerseys and the purple pants. Let's head up to my other partner who's got a different perspective. About 20 stories above the playing surface of the Georgia Dome is Paul McGuire. And, Paul, you've got a new look, and we might see a new look from Auburn tonight as well.
Well, that's why I'm up here. I want to see the new spread formation of Auburn. Do you know that Ron Franklin is their new offensive coordinator? And if you can believe this, folks, he put in a brand-new spread offense in less than 7 days. But the guys I'm really concerned about are the 3 true freshmen at offensive line. How are they going to grasp this system? And, Greasy, there's a reason why I'm up here and you're not, because my eyes are a lot younger than yours.
And here come the other Tigers from the plains of Auburn. Let's go down to the 4th member of our team, and a happy new year to Bonnie Bernstein. Bob?
Happy new year to you too, Brad, and to you, Coach. Coach, players from Georgia on both of these teams, what does this game mean for recruiting?
Well, we were both so close. I doubt anybody's going to make a decision based on this game, but it gives you added publicity for an extended amount of time, which might affect a 9th grader, 10th grader, 11th grader.
Auburn, you know, has got a whole new offense. How challenging to prepare for that?
Well, we know what to do. It's just we don't know if they're going to do it or not. I mean, our defensive coordinator is going against that style in our conference. You just don't know if they're going to do it or not. So we've got a plan. We'll just have to see if they're going to do it.
Thanks.
All right, Bonnie. We get set for the Chick-fil-A Bowl. Should be a good one. The Tigers and the Tigers when we come back.
Welcome to the Chick-fil-A Bowl. It's our intention not only to produce a great bowl game, but also to have a positive influence on others. In fact, this year we'll be presenting $100,000 to the General Scholarship Program for both Clemson and Auburn University, part of over $1 million that will be given away to worthy charities as a result of this game. And who makes this game possible? It's our Chick-fil-A Bowl staff, volunteers, Chick-fil-A operators and team members all coming together to make Chick-fil-A what it is 6 days a week, 52 weeks a year. Hey, On behalf of these cows, we hope you enjoy this year's Chick-fil-A Bowl.
Just about set for the kickoff. The other Tommies with Bonnie.
All right, Coach Tuberville, 8 days to install this new offense. What have you seen that gives you the confidence they'll be able to pull it off?
Well, we've kept their attention, that's for sure. It's going to be interesting. It's not a lot of difference in the offensive running plays with passing plays. It's just how fast we're going to run the offense. The signaling, a lot of different terminology. It's going to be fun to watch. It'll be a test drill tonight.
A win tonight will give 17 players the winningest senior class in school history. What does that mean as you've watched them grow?
50 games for a bunch of seniors to win in the SECs. It's almost impossible. I'm really proud of them. You know, they've matured. They've worked hard. You know, it's hard to play college football. We put their feet to the fire, and they've all graduated. That's what I'm really proud of.
Coach, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Brad.
The Tigers 8-4, 5-3 in the SEC West. And Auburn won the toss and deferred, so we're going to see Colin Harper, number 10, one of the local products at quarterback. And he talked with us about what he wants to accomplish on the opening series tonight.
Just trying to get good field position. You know, I think that's a little underlooked in a football game. You know, field position is huge. You know, if we can get it across the 50-yard line and kind of back them up, and then, you know, we get the ball back, we're, you know, near midfield again.
You know, Grease, that's kind of refreshing to hear. You usually hear guys say, we just want to move it down the field, get a touchdown, and have a 7-point lead.
Yeah.
Well, outside, pretty nice, 48, but we have had some rain in the last few days, much needed. Inside, perfect, no wind, except what the fans will raise, and 70 degrees in a sold-out Georgia Dome.
If you're a player, Brad, you couldn't want a better situation, a better environment. You got perfect footing on the field. There's no wind, perfect lighting. The only problem, it might get a little loud in here.
Just a little bit on every play. And it might look a little orange in here to you on every play. You're either wearing Auburn orange or you're wearing Clemson orange. And we're just about set to kick it off. Last year was a Georgia Dome record with over 75,400 on hand. We expect it might be the same story. We'll know by about halftime how many people are in here tonight. But it's been a sellout since way back, and they probably could have sold another 40,000 tickets, they tell us. Back deep, C.J. Spiller and James Davis, the dynamic duo of the backfield. And Wes Byram has got it teed up for the Auburn Tigers. We'll try to keep our Tigers straight and by the tail as we go, folks. Chick-fil-A Bowl's underway. As the flash bulbs go all the way back 2 yards deep is Spiller. And CJ up in the middle of the field, got across the 20 to about the 21-yard line. And let's check the Yellow Book starting offense for the Clemson Tigers, and here's head coach Tommy Bowden.
Starting on offense at the skill positions for the Clemson Tigers versus the Auburn Tigers will be our quarterback, Colin Harper. He's had a very productive year, along with Aaron Kelly, our top receiver. On the offensive line, two big seniors, both on the left side, Barry Richardson and Chris McDuffie.
They are the guys that are watching out for number 10. Colin Harper, one of the captains. There he is, number 10. Played his high school ball at Sequoia in Alpharetta, about 25 miles up the road. So it's a home game for him from his own 22-yard line. And it's James Davis. Davis out across the 25 to about the 27-yard line as we check the Auburn Tiger defense and Tommy Tuberville.
Auburn defense starts at defensive line. Quentin Groves, All-American, great football player. Linebacker, you can't play defense without a great middle linebacker, Trey Blackman. Secondary, what can you say about Patrick Lee? He's come from the bottom to the top. Going to make a great NFL player at corner.
As you look from behind that defense and now into an eye, Lincecum, the tight end, comes up to get the snap count from his quarterback and backs into the fullback position. 2nd down and 4. And it's the toss to Davis. He cut back immediately, and he was cut down immediately by Senderick Marks.
Clemson can run the ball just as well as they can throw it. The first 2 plays of the ball game are running plays. Oh, just a great move by Marks there, number 94, to get around the block and get in the backfield.
There's the big fella, has a couple of block kicks to his credit this year as well. So a third down and long situation for Clemson to open things up. Third down and 6. And they'll go to the shotgun. Harper has time, going deep, and touched but incomplete, intended for Aaron Kelly. And the Clemson Tigers will have to punt it away.
The one thing this Auburn group can always do, and that is play defense. Lee, number 20, will be shadowing Aaron Kelly for most of the night.
Tommy Tuberville told us he's probably not more proud of any defensive player he has than Patrick Lee, who he says kind of came out of nowhere and now, as he said, should be an NFL draft choice. Jimmy Mainers will punt. Robert Dunn is back deep for Auburn. Mainers kind of a line drive. And it's going to be fielded at the 28. Dunn trying to get to the corner, got a block. Flags down though. They're going to bring it back. Nifty return by Dunn all the way to the 46. It would have been a 27-yard punt return, but it's all coming back.
That's going to be on Auburn for a block in the back.
It's Eric Brock right there, number 3. Here's a call.
During the run back, illegal block in the back above the waist on the return team. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
And you saw Tommy Tuberville give Eric Brock an earful as here it comes. You can't get your head in front, leave him alone.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. You just have to be disciplined. He thought he could get the block, and then the coverage guy kind of changed his angle, and just you got to pull off.
So instead of starting down in Clemson territory, it's way back at the 23-yard line for Brandon Cox and company. Brandon Cox, the play fake, and comes up to his tight end on a play action pass, almost a first down to Cole Bennett. Pickup of 9 on the opening snap of the ball game for the Auburn offense that'll have some old, some new, some borrowed, and some blue, I guess, by the time this game is over. Cody Burns now has checked in.
Yeah, this is a hurry-up offense. They line up at the line of scrimmage. They never huddle 100% of the time. And then they play fast. Sometimes they snap it quickly, and sometimes they don't.
Cody Burns, the freshman who we knew we'd see already in after one snap. And now the handoff goes to Mario Fanning. And Fanning's got a first down and more, and he's still on his feet. Breaking tackles. Almost had his jersey pulled off, and he's all the way out to the 48-yard line. Pickup of 15 on a great run. Cody Burns, kind of the X factor as the coach makes an X across his chest, because the freshman out of Fort Smith, Arkansas, there's his numbers.
He's a true freshman. He's made one start so far this year, and they feel like that next year he may be running this spread offense for the Auburn Tigers.
Brandon Cox is back in there now as the whole team looks over to the sideline. It's not just the quarterback that looks over there. Everybody does, except the center, who's making the calls on a first down at the 48-yard line. Brandon Cox looks one way, comes back across the middle, and the ball in and out of the hands of Brad Lester. Let's check the yellow book starting offense for the Auburn Tigers. Here's how it looks up front. 3 freshmen, as Paul was talking about on that front wall, and they're good ones. They're growing up in a hurry. And the backs and receivers, Cox, Lester Stewart, Smith Billings, and Cole Bennett, who already has a catch off play action tonight, the tight end. Second down and 10. And that's Brad Lester. Brad Lester trying to break tackles, and does, as he gets into Clemson territory at about the 48-yard line. Going to bring up third down and long, though. Lester, another one of the local products. Brad played his high school ball at Parkview High here in Atlanta. So third down. As Clemson had third and long on their opening drive, Auburn's looking at a 3rd and 6 here. Tigers, Clemson that is, show blitz. Now you see the whole team look up and look to the sideline.
Everybody.
I'm not sure I'm crazy about my linemen looking over the sideline all the time.
I wouldn't want my offensive line looking up.
Brandon Cox going to loft it out long, trying to make an adjustment, and doing so is Rod Smith. First down, Tigers. And a pickup at 28. Paul, that one came right at you.
It was Butler that got turned around. Butler is a defensive back. He just slips, loses where the ball is, and Smith just makes an adjustment and a nice big play.
Brandon Cox stays in there with the long pass play, a first down right at the 20-yard line. Brad Lester flanks him in the shotgun. And too much time.
No, it wasn't too much time. I think we got a movement in the line. Yeah.
Yep, you're right. Penalty marker on the far side. There's Tony Franklin, the new offensive coordinator, came over from Troy. Troy gave a lot of people fits over the last couple of years when he was their offensive coordinator, rolling up big numbers in total offense and in scoring, and nobody ever wanted to play him.
Yeah.
And so when Tommy Tuberville decided he was going to make a switch from Coach Borges to a new offensive coordinator, in comes Tony, and as Bonnie talked about, Paul talked about, trying to install a new offense before a bowl game takes a lot of work and a lot of time, and you don't have a lot of time, I should say, to work with. Cody Burns back in there. He's just going to take direct snap and go right up the middle, and he got back near the line of scrimmage.
Let's talk.
We actually talked to Franklin. We said, how do you install an offense in 8 days? And he said, you know, our offense is so simple. There are really only 10 or 11 passing concepts, a handful for the run game, plus some screens. The basic install is done in 5 days. The hard part, guys, are all the details and all the different personnel groupings, and that's probably not quite where they're up to speed yet.
Yep, that'll take until next year. Brandon Cox floats it out in the flat to Lester. Lester, whoa, what a collision. And look at Brad Lester. First down and goal. A 14-yard headbanger by Brad Lester. I saw his dad and mom at the luncheon the other day. They said, say good things about my son. I said, all he's got to do is do something.
He just did.
Hey, guys, let me tell you something. This is unbelievable. I'll tell you what, he just ran over Butler. Butler came up to make the tackle, and he just lowers and said, what's the impact? Right about now. Bam, and he's on the ground. That's Butler.
First and goal for the Auburn Tigers. Now to give to Lester again. This time dancing around, losing about 2. Michael Hamlin, the defensive captain, made the stop defensively. Clemson's defense. That's kind of a strange situation when teams getting goal-to-goals. They don't get to stop them, and they don't force field goals.
Yeah, you know, that is a very unusual statistic to have. And I'm sure that Clemson defense is not very proud of it.
Nope. Second down and goal. 9th play of Auburn's drive.
Look at everybody looking over to the sideline. Everybody on the offense.
Now get your head back on a swivel and look at that Clemson defense. And now there's some motion. I think it's Ryan Pugh, the left tackle.
All start. Offense number 50. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
That's exactly what we were kind of kidding around about. I don't know if I want my lineman always looking over there and forgetting about, wait a minute, I got to line up against this guy.
Well, when all 11 guys look to the sideline, they're not looking at the same guy. The linemen are looking at maybe the offensive line coach. All they need is to know the protection if it's a pass or the main blocking scheme. The other guys are looking at somebody else.
Second down and goal.
That's really unusual to see all the offensive linemen stand up and look over.
Now let's see if they can get in their stance and stay still. Second and goal back at the 15-yard line. Brandon Cox scans the field. Now just throws it away and really took a big hit after he let go of the football. Ricky Sapp just said hello to Brandon Cox. Let's check the yellow book starting defensive alignment for the Clemson Tigers. Up front, they've got some good ones led by Merling and Sapp on the outside, Scott and Jackson inside. Here's a linebacking core. They're all new starters. We'll tell you more about that as we go. And the secondary is a good one. A couple of guys back there with 4 interceptions, Hamlin and Chancellor. Third down and goal at the 15. Lester made the first one miss. Flags all over the place, though. I think we're going to have a holding call. Somebody's helmet came off in all of that, too, and an injured Clemson player. And that's Darrell Scott. The flags flew immediately, and Scott holding his lower right leg.
Ness, this may be a cut block because he went down in a hurry, and the flag came out.
That's it. You called it, Paul.
Green was one of the guys, number 71.
And Darrell Scott, a junior out of Columbia, South Carolina, in a world of hurt right now. Here's a call.
Chop block. offense number 50. That penalty is declined. 4th down.
And you hear the boos raining out over the call. And we just hope that Darrell Scott's going to be okay.
Well, the thing about this, Pugh is the guy that was, first of all, it was moving, and he's one of the true freshmen. Now, you just take a look at Pugh. He's the left tackle. He's going to come down. They set up, and then he just cuts right there. And, you know, the defensive man really has no chance at all. He can't see it. All he can do is feel it.
And it does not feel good. Timeout on the field with the injury.
Hey, Derek, what's the deal with the special burger?
Why don't you try calling it by its proper name, Jason?
The Rose Bowl game presented by City, Illinois versus USC, New Year's Day at 4:30 Eastern on ABC.
Chick-fil-A Bowl, no score here in the opening quarter. Paul McGuire is cart-bound now after being up in the rafters. And I was a little nervous last night when Beverly told me that you have this sense that sometimes when you're way up in the air like that you think about jumping.
How do you think I got down here so fast?
I said our ratings would have been great, but I don't want to explain to everybody why you jumped.
Well, as he was going down, he could just tell everybody, well, everything's all right so far.
Well, everything looks a little bit better for Darrell Scott now, as he is just now being helped off the field. The victim of a cut block on Ryan Pugh, who's not having a great series. He's had a false start and now a chop block, and there he is on the sideline right now. Auburn started this thing off 1st and goal at the 8. They lost 2 yards. Then there was a false start penalty against number 50. Then an incompletion. And then a loss of 4 and the chop block. And here they are with goal to go back at the 19-yard line.
That's what's you've got to expect that with 3 true freshmen and a whole new offense in the last 30 days.
Wes Byram is 16 of 21 on the year, trying a 36-yard field goal, and he hit it right down Peachtree. Auburn on the board first. The Auburn Tigers lead the Clemson Tigers by 3.
Finest leather boots. Now, our Capital One Bowl flashback. The 2002 Capital One Bowl turned out to be a lopsided affair as Tennessee opened up an early lead against Michigan. Behind quarterback Casey Clausen's 393 passing yards and 3 touchdowns, the Volunteers got their first victory in a bowl game since winning the national title in 1998. Tune into the Capital One Bowl, New Year's Day on ABC. ESPN College Football, the Chick-fil-A Bowl, is brought to you by Chick-fil-A. We didn't invent the chicken, just the chicken sandwich. Duracell, trusted everywhere. And Pontiac. Tiger fans, your school is a finalist for the $100,000 scholarship contribution from Pontiac. Vote now at ESPN.com, keyword Pontiac.
Hey, the jellyfish, the giant ones. Georgia Aquarium's the world's largest, with 8 million gallons of fresh and marine water and more aquatic life than found in any other aquarium in the world. Clemson's been here in Atlanta. They took time to visit one of Atlanta's feature attractions. The coach was there with his wife Linda and daughter Lauren.
Yep.
If you're ever in Atlanta, take in the Georgia Aquarium.
I gotta come.
It's a building that looks like a great big ship out here outside the Georgia Dome if you're looking for it. Here's a kick. And it's going to be Spiller at about the 3. CJ, great speed, but he's run out of bounds. Nice job. Ooh, kind of roughed up out of bounds. No flag. Coaches don't like it. Sideline didn't like it much. Reminder, before the ball drops in 2007 ends, you can witness an out-of-this-world jump as Robbie Maddo Madison attempts a world record motorcycle jump the length of the football field. New year, no limits. New Year's Eve, following our game tonight on ESPN. He's going to jump the stadium that we were in last week, I guess. Sam Boyd Stadium. He's going goalpost to goalpost. That ain't for me, but I want to watch it.
Yeah, I'd like to see it on TV, but I don't know if I want to be doing it.
So out at the 28-yard line is where Clemson will set up shop. There's a 5-yard face mask on that last play, so they get a little bit of extra yardage on the kick return. So when I said they roughed him up a little bit, they got a little bit too close to the helmet. Spiller's the tailback right now. Play action. Harper with a throwback, and Kelly forgot to take the ball with him. Incomplete. Ball still loose, but it's an incomplete pass. The linesman's trying to blow everything dead. So's the referee. Kelly, such a dependable receiver. Doesn't drop many. And, you know, he had a big drop against Boston College that may have cost him a chance to go to the ACC championship. As it is, though, Clemson 9-3, 5-3 in ACC play coming into this one. Of course, they're coming off a win over South Carolina in the regular season finale, while Auburn's coming off their 6th straight win over Alabama. So both teams kind of riding the wave of beating their in-state rivals.
Exactly.
From behind, C.J. Spiller, and now on a 2nd and 10. It is Spiller. And he is stopped in his tracks. And Senderick Marks has had a good first quarter, number 94. Big sophomore out of Mobile, Alabama. Cullen Harper, second team All-ACC, voted a captain out of Alpharetta, Georgia, went to Sequoia High School. I mentioned that earlier. 9-3, 27 touchdown passes, a single season school record. And if he gets 113 yards passing tonight, he'd join Charlie Whitehurst as the only Clemson quarterbacks to throw for over 3,000 yards in a single season.
The thing that impresses me about that, Brad, is that he's only thrown 6 interceptions.
Yep. Grisham in motion. Harper in the gun. Over the middle, and again hits Kelly in the left shoulder pad, incomplete.
You know, I'm sitting right down here, and I can't be more than 20 yards away from Kelly. And on the first play, Grease, he never looked at the ball. And on this one here, he's so conscious about the defensive backs there.
Well, there was a little traffic going there through there, Paul, when he got there. There was a couple linebackers. The numbers were a little bit high for him on the defense.
He got too many guys.
Jimmy Mainer's in to punt again. Robert Dunn had a good return last time, but he had an illegal block. This is a better punt. Heading to the sideline, and Dunn makes the catch and goes right out of bounds. That's a pretty good kick there. 45-yard punt with no return. We'll return with Auburn up by a field goal in just a minute. This telecast is available in HD, presented by Pioneer Kuro HD TV. You're looking at the Georgia Dome in Atlanta, sold out for the Auburn Tigers and Clemson Tigers in the Chick-fil-A Bowl, as we have the final football game of 07 going on. Auburn with a 3-0 lead and working from their own 28-yard line. Clemson shows blitz. Brandon Cox over the middle, and again he found his tight end, Cole Bennett, and Bennett's out near the 35-yard line. Bennett came in with only 9 catches on the season. Cole playing in his 52nd career game. He and Brandon Cox are both graduate 5th-year seniors, so those guys have been around together for a long time.
So that means he catches 1 pass every 5 games?
Yeah, and he's got 2 in the first quarter. 2nd down and 3.
It's a new offense.
That's right. Lester hitting the backfield, and Clemson stays with it. Let's check in with Bonnie.
Darrell Scott, Brad. Darrell Scott has a sprained right ankle. They were hoping to get him back in, just tape him up and give him some painkillers. But once they took the initial tape job off, he was walking along the sideline and was just limping too badly. So they've sent him into the locker room to get it checked out a little bit more, Brad.
One of the biggest guys on that Clemson defense. And his season and bowl game looks to be over. 3rd down and 3 for Auburn. Here comes a blitz. A handoff to Fannin. Broke 1 tackle, but not the second one. Cartwheeled out of bounds at about the 36-yard line. It's going to be 4th down and a long 2.
Well, both of these teams have pretty stout defenses. Both of them rank in the top 10 in the country. Take a look from behind the offense. Just a little draw play. Fannin is like their third, number 3 running back, but got a lot of potential, a lot of upside in this young man.
So Ryan Shoemaker into punts. There's his numbers, very impressive. And C.J. Spiller's way down there on the other end. High in the air in the Georgia Dome, and a fair catch called for and taken at about the 24-yard line. 40-yard kick, no return. Cullen Harper wants to get that Clemson offense in gear. We'll see if he can when we come back.
Okay, Chuck.
Welcome back to the Georgia Dome. Chick-fil-A Bowl is not only continuing a great tradition of great football games, but it's also been particularly generous in terms of funding academic scholarships, reaching out right here in Metro Atlanta, as well as to the 2 participating universities each year. Earlier tonight, that was Chuck Fruit, who's the bowl chairman, Senior Vice President Chick-fil-A, Steve Robinson. They presented checks again to the Chick-fil-A Bowl endowed scholarship in the amount of $100,000 each to Clemson President James Barker and to Auburn University President Jay Gouge. They do quite a job in town, along with Gary Stokin and his group.
Yes, they do.
This is some kind of bowl game and some kind of Southern hospitality from the 24-yard line. James Davis falls forward. Pretty good gain. Got about 3. Chick-fil-A Bowl made more than $1 million in charitable and scholarship contributions. So our hats off to those guys. Do a great job and get the community involved.
Clemson at the line of scrimmage calling the plays.
Well, Clemson's one of those teams where usually the quarterback's looking over to the sideline. Auburn's a team now that has the whole team looking over to the sideline. 2nd down and 7 at the 27. Tight end in motion. They're going to throw the screen out and in and out of the hands of Tyler Grisham, who didn't hold it.
Yeah, these guys haven't played for a while. I think they're a little rusty. Little rusty.
I agree with you. Well, we'll see if they're rusty at the Rose Bowl tomorrow. Tradition continues. New Year's Day on ABC. Illinois Fighting Illini making their first trip to the Rose Bowl since '84. Take on the Trojans of USC. The Rose Bowl game presented by Citi on ABC tomorrow at 4:30 Eastern Time. Should be a good game.
It's really an intriguing matchup. If USC plays the way they're supposed to play, Illinois is going to have to play the way they played against Ohio State.
The juice is going to have to be loose.
Yes.
Clemson takes a timeout. 5:24 remaining here in the first quarter. Auburn leading by a field goal. Welcome back to the Georgia Dome, the Chick-fil-A Bowl, as the Auburn Tigers and the Clemson Tigers playing. If you've been watching us on ESPN2, the length of the game, Florida State and Kentucky. Looks like Kentucky's going to wrap it up with a late interception. We welcome you to Atlanta. Brad Nessler, Bob Greasy, Paul McGuire, Bonnie Bernstein, and a whole bunch of Tigers here at the Georgia Dome in front of a sellout crowd. And Clemson's offense sputtering so far in the early going here. We've got 5:24 remaining in the first quarter, and Clemson has had way too many 3rd and long situations. They've got another one here.
Yeah, they've had the ball twice, and they've had 6 plays, and they've made 4 yards in those 6 plays, and three plays and out on their first 2 possessions. Third and long here.
Harper waits, zips it down the middle, and what a throw that was to Tyler Grisham. And there's what they needed, a big play. Grisham had dropped 1, Kelly had dropped 2, and now he hooks up a 20-yard pass play.
Give some love to that offensive line. It took just a split second longer for this play to develop. And then he had enough time to stay in the pocket. Grisham gets into the middle of the field. Second leading receiver on this ball club, and that's their first down of the game.
And his 59th catch of the year. Kelly, the motion man. Harper, low snap, got it to James Davis. So Davis broke 1 tackle and is across midfield and into Auburn territory. So Clemson starting to get something working here. You see the pushing and shoving, and both teams out to prove who's really going to earn their stripes as the real Tigers in town tonight. Tell you what, if you spent any time in Atlanta this week and you didn't like purple or navy or orange, forget about it. James Davis over 1,000 now. Back-to-back seasons of 1,000 plus. He's a good one out of Douglas High School here in Atlanta.
I will never eat another orange. Trust me.
We're kind of bulking up on the Chick-fil-A sandwiches too. 2nd down and a long 2. Davis left side, got the corner, and he's run out of bounds, but he's got a 1st down. You know, a lot of these kids are from Georgia, and they've played high school ball against each other. There are 37 members on the 2 teams, but you think about the Atlanta connection for Clemson. Cullen Harper went to Sequoia High School in Alpharetta. Aaron Kelly went to Walton High School in Marietta. James Davis went to Douglas High School in Atlanta, and Mark Buchholz went to Chattahoochee in Alpharetta. So all these guys, their families are within about a 20-minute drive from right here.
All those guys on the offense. Buchholz was the kicker.
Yep.
And a total of 14 starters on both of these clubs from this area.
At the 42-yard line, 1st and 10 for Clemson in Auburn territory. Harper Quick slant, and he got his man again down to the 35-yard line, and this time it's LaDante Harris.
Talk about the local connection, guys. A lot of people think because Kelly's been Harper's go-to guy all year that, oh, they just worked a bunch together over the summer. But that kinetic bond actually goes way back to their senior year in high school in the Atlanta area. When Harper found out that Kelly signed with Clemson, he called him. He said, hey, why don't we throw around a little bit? And they actually got together 5-10 times before they ever went to their first camp at Clemson. So that's a relationship that's a long time in the making.
That's a good one. 2nd down and 3. And now it's Davis. Davis swivel hips his way to a first down at the 31-yard line. Tough guy to bring down. First Clemson back to lead the team in rushing for 3 straight years. 2nd year in a row. First team All-ACC. Pontiac game-changing performance. You can help decide. Go to ESPN.com. Search Pontiac to determine which school will get a $100,000 general scholarship fund contribution courtesy of Pontiac. There's the plays. I'm sure you've all seen them. And at halftime, you'll probably have an opportunity as well, as the guys will bring you update on all the scores, as the Kentucky game is the final, beating Florida State 35-28 in the Gaylord Hotels Music City Bowl. Congratulations to Coach Brooks and the Wildcats for a nice season from the SEC. 8th play of the Clemson drive. Play action. Harper might want it all. Going deep. Got a man out there. And it is broken up. Almost caught. Almost intercepted. And incomplete. Patrick Lee and Eric Brock got back there on Aaron Kelly. Some of you folks might have just been tuning in because you were watching Kentucky and Florida State. Kentucky a winner. We welcome you to the Chick-fil-A Bowl, where Clemson is trailing Auburn in the first quarter. 3-0. The only score so far was a Wes Byram 36-yard field goal for Auburn. But Clemson's on the move. 2nd down and 10. Just outside the Auburn Tiger 31-yard line. Harper, quick throw out on the flat. Contact made, and now given ground. Spiller, and he got spilled in the backfield.
Boy, I'll tell you, what a great play by Pat Sims. Now, he's a nose tackle or a defensive tackle, number 95. He comes up a little bit limping. But watch what he does. You talk about a guy that just doesn't quit. He's 95. He's right in the middle of the line. And you're going to see him. He gets blocked. Now watch. As soon as he sees Kelly come back, watch him take ground and then make the tackle back at the 40.
Good call, Paul. He did a little bear walk to just keep his footing and get back in the play. Big fella at 6'4", 316 out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Now Clemson was down there almost to the red zone. Here they are back at the 41-yard line. That was a loss of 11. And now you got to think that Colin Harper's got to go up on top again. 3rd and 20. That's Grisham in motion. Auburn thinks blitz. They bring blitz. Harper fires complete inside the 30. Got it down to Rendrick Taylor. And that could put him back in field goal range at least, even though they didn't get the first down.
That was a good throw. Taylor hardly got himself turned around, and the ball was on him right on target because there was tight coverage.
So Mark Buchholz will come on. He's 20 out of 32 on the year. His season-long 52, and this one is going to be about 45 from the right hash mark. Buchholz to try to tie the game from 45. Kick on the way. I think he pushed it to the right. It's no good. So a good-looking drive goes awry, courtesy of a big play by Coach Muschamp's defense, and then a missed field goal. And the Auburn faithful come to roar in the Georgia Dome. Auburn comes back out and starts offensively at the 28-yard line. Brandon Cox has played just about the whole thing so far. Cody Burns has been in for a couple of plays. Here comes Clemson's blitz. I think they want to throw a screen. He can't find his guy, and he almost threw it to the wrong jersey, but he got it somehow to Ben Tate. It only picked up about 4 yards, but that one could have blown up in his face.
That was a very dangerous throw right there.
Looked like it was going to be intercepted as we look from behind Brandon Cox.
Watch number 44, Tate. You talk about fight for the football. I don't know really if he sees him or not. Watch Tate. He's going to break out behind everybody, Bob, and makes the catch. What a great play by Tate, though.
Cavell Connor is the guy that almost intercepted that ball.
He caught the ball off the helmet of his offensive lineman.
2nd and 6. Cox throws quickly, complete. First down, out across the 40-yard line. Preche Rodriguez with a catch. And a pickup of 8. Some of you folks that are watching on ESPN2, a reminder that the end of the quarter to turn over to ESPN. Some cases might be just a channel away because that's where we're going to go at the end of the quarter. Just a little reminder for you folks watching wherever you might be watching on this New Year's Eve. Nice run on the completion to Mario Fannin. And Fannin got about 10. And it looks like it's going to be a first down because they put it right on the chalk mark. And that should be good enough.
Well, you know, you talked about Rodriguez making the catch. Now watch the number 15 on the outside, Rodriguez again. He's the guy that's going to get the block. Boom, right there on the outside that enables Fannin to get downfield.
And now Cody Burns going back in, the freshman, as Auburn has worked it to midfield. 1st and 10 for the Tigers. Might be the final play of the quarter if they keep it on the ground, and they do. And it's a yard or 2 for Mario Fannin. And that should just about do our first quarter here in Atlanta. Again, one more reminder. Switch over to ESPN if you've been watching this on ESPN2. Because of the length of the Kentucky-Florida State game, we started on one network, and we're pretty cool about how we can do this. We're just going to ship everything over to the mothership. So we'll be on ESPN for the second quarter, and we'll be back to the Georgia Dome. It's the end of one, and it's the Auburn Tigers in front of the Clemson Tigers by a field goal, 3-0 Auburn.
Welcome back to Atlanta in the Chick-fil-A Bowl.
And we welcome you back too. We just moved Death Valley a little bit to the south. We moved the Plains a little bit to the northeast, and we meet in the middle in Atlanta. Both these teams only about 2-hour drive from here and their fans. Cody Burns finished the quarter. Brandon Cox starts the second quarter. 3-0 Auburn, and they've got a 2nd down and 9 at the Clemson 49. Brandon Cox has been pretty efficient so far. Drops and throws. This one's a one-hopper, though, trying to get it to Tate and couldn't. I think a little bit, Bob, you mentioned it earlier, a little bit of rust. You know, you go from the end of the season to now, but both teams are starting to win.
Yeah, and the defenses have got the upper hand early on, and I think some nerves are in there. Of course, one team's got a whole new offense, but Clemson offensively, that last drive got it going a little bit.
We'll see if they can continue that. And what we've seen of Auburn and their offense, 3rd down and long here, 3rd down and 9. But it's looked pretty good. We'll talk more about that as we go. Cox waits. Uh-oh, there comes the defense. Philip Merling. And that is his 7th sack of the year.
Well, that also came from a regular freshman, Jimba on the outside. Take a look. He just doesn't get his block. Again, almost trying to old leg wick.
Yeah, that didn't even work.
That's a tough move for a veteran offensive lineman, boys. I want to tell you.
Ryan Shoemaker into punt from behind him, and you can see there's dual return men back there, C.J. Spiller and Aaron Kelly. It's going to be Spiller backpedaling, calling fair catch. Nice catch, just to have to hustle back to about the 12-yard line. So as Bob said, the upper hand seems to be the defense, and it doesn't matter which group of Tigers you're watching. The defense playing good in both directions. Auburn 3-0. Falcons played kind of a lengthy game against Seattle yesterday. When it was over, they had to redo everything at the Georgia Dome. Out went the Falcon logo, onto the field went the Chick-fil-A logo, and everybody had to work all night long to change it to say Clemson and Auburn in the end zones, and here we are at the Chick-fil-A Bowl.
Wow.
That was a hurry-up version. We saw some of that taking place after the Falcons' 3-point win over Seattle here at the Dome. A lot of work by the folks to get it ready for tonight. Here's Colin Harper in the shotgun from the 12-yard line. Just a little pooch toss to Spiller. They're trying to get CJ outside because he's got great speed, but so does the Auburn defense. Zach Etheridge came over and made the stop on the play. Pablo, let's talk about your impressions of the first quarter from your spot.
Well, you know, you talk about the Auburn offense. I thought, you know, they're going to struggle quite a bit, which I don't think they have so far. The one thing about them is that they're not used to running this many plays. And Trevor was telling us, he said, you know what, they run about 85 to 90 plays in a practice session when they used to run like 50, 55. He said the one thing it will do now is tire out Clemson. It may even tire out the offense.
Meanwhile, the Clemson offense has been a high-octane thing all season long in the ACC. Spiller broke a tackle, cuts outside, got a first down. Down the sideline is C.J. Spiller. They might not get him. He's got tremendous speed. All ACC track man touchdown. Whoa, what a run. 83 yards, and that lights up the Clemson crowd. He's on the 4x100 on the track team, and he said, this ain't 100, but they ain't going to catch me.
Well, that was just poor tackling on Auburn's part, and a great run and a great effort by Spiller.
Mark Buckholz in for the point after. It took one play for the Clemson offense to come to life. And how lively can you get? He had to break a tackle just to get it going.
Well, he actually broke 2 tackles right behind the line of scrimmage, and once he did that and he got to the outside, it was all him and no one else. Watch this when he goes up into the middle. Watch the guys that hit him. There are 2 blue shirts right there that miss him. Now, when he gets back to the outside, it's over right now.
And there goes number 28 for 83 yards and a Clemson touchdown. And the Clemson Tigers have the lead over the Auburn Tigers.
ESPN College Football, the Chick-fil-A Bowl, is brought to you by Chick-fil-A. We didn't invent the chicken, just the chicken sandwich. And Aflac. Ask about it at work.
The Center for Puppetry Arts, 28-year-old organization dedicated to the art form of puppetry with enchanting performances, curriculum-based workshops, and a hands-on museum. Centers introduce millions of visitors to the wonder and art of puppetry, and that looks a lot like Paul McGuire, doesn't it?
I didn't know Pablo went over there.
Yeah, all that thing needs is the glasses, and it's you, dude.
Wiggle your ears.
I'll wiggle your ears.
Buckholz kick. Davis at about the 2-yard line, and now a little huddle, and who's got the ball? Here they come to the near side. A little trickery. Well, he's across the 20. Patrick Lee down the sideline, hurdles a man. Pull out all the stops.
You always see some of this stuff for bowl games, don't you? You got about a month to prepare, and all these coaches come out with some good stuff.
40-yard kick return. I like that one. I don't think I've seen that little bunch
here's the one when you run a kickoff team, you get down, you see all the guys. Everybody hits somebody. Just hit somebody. Doesn't matter who you hit somebody.
I know one thing. That makes Sports Center. Watch this. And there's one handoff, and then, whoop, there we go. Pat Lee. Let's go, Pat. And he giddy-upped all the way to the 43-yard line.
Now the question is, was that a forward lateral?
It was just nice little easy side-to-side perpendicular handoff.
And they're getting there. They were talking about it. Who wants it? Who wants it? Give me that. Give me it.
Brandon Cox at quarterback. First down Auburn. Now they trail for the first time tonight. Wants to throw a screen again. He's got to throw it in the dirt. They have smelled that one out a couple of times. He wanted to get it to Brad Lester. Let's take you back one more time to the touchdown, though, that lit up the Georgia Dome. Longest play from scrimmage for Clemson this year. You're going to see the missed tackle right there that Paul talked about by Groves. And then when C.J. Spiller got outside, he said, you know what, I'm going to change hands with the football, and you catch me if you can. Watch the defender try to keep his form like he's trying to get to the tape. Chick-fil-A Bowl record, 83-yard touchdown run by C.J. Spiller. Brandon Cox, quick slants. Got it to Fannin, and Fannon's in Clemson territory. Looks like he might have a first down.
I like this kid, Fannin. He's number 3 on the depth chart, but he's played a lot this year. He's a redshirt freshman, and he's got some shake and bake and some speed.
He's got 5 touchdowns on the year. He scored 3 of them against New Mexico State earlier this season.
You know, another thing, Bob, is one of the things I'm seeing with both of these teams are the guys, the wide receivers and people downfield. As soon as the guy gets the ball, everybody's blocking somebody.
You see Auburn now with basically a trip set of receivers out to the left. That's where Brandon Cox is looking. Again, he's got to throw it. This one might be grounding.
Yeah.
He didn't get outside the tackle box, and he threw that where nobody was around.
Well, actually, Fannin was around, but Fannin was blocking at the time, number 27, and he threw it at his feet.
There's no foul on the play for
grounding. Fannin was there.
So
whether he was looking at the ball didn't matter. Excuse me, Ness, but it doesn't matter whether he's looking at the ball or not. But Fannin was there blocking, wasn't paying attention.
The old defensive guy down on the field, riding up down the field on a scooter, picks up that play.
Look at this. See Fannin right there? So he's blocking. Doesn't matter. It's in the vicinity of a receiver.
That's good coaching and good execution by a quarterback, 5th-year senior.
Cox looking to the right the whole way there. Got it to Ben Tate. And Ben Tate's down close to a first down. Bonnie?
Right with Auburn's offense on the field, defensive coordinator Will Muschamp has been gathering his players around, pulled out the whiteboard, and gave him a little lesson on tackling angles after that Spiller touchdown. And really, that was one of Muschamp's biggest concerns. He told his players the worst thing in a bowl game is to have bad form on tackling because you went away for Christmas and forgot about all of your technique. And because of that, he actually did a bunch of extra tackling circuits with the players in the lead up to this game, which obviously didn't pay off on that Spiller touchdown.
Yeah, that's right. 3rd down and 2 here. Now Cody Burns is back in the lineup at quarterback. It's Tate. Broke a tackle. Got a first down at the 35. Tough run by Ben Tate, the sophomore, out of Newark, Maryland. 211-pounder. Time for our Aflac trivia question. Our last one of the year, guys.
Whack, 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 whack.
Auburn and Clemson played in the '98 Peach Bowl. Now it's the Chick-fil-A Bowl, of course. Who scored the winning touchdown in that game? You can text CF to 4ESPN. Standard message rates may apply. Was it Rusty Williams, Raymond Priester, Damian Craig, or Karsten Bailey? Get on there and find out a little bit later on what the right answer is. See if you can get it. Brandon Cox now, as the musical quarterback carousel continues to turn for Auburn. Throws too high over the middle, intended for his tight end Tommy Trott. A little bit too high, incomplete. It'll bring up 2nd down and 10. So
I don't know if it's just me, but I'll tell you what, I don't see these guys throwing the ball downfield deep. All these passes are like about 3 yards or 4 yards down the field.
There you see the no huddle. Team at the line of scrimmage looking over, and you saw Cody Burns come in and Cox go out at quarterback.
And Burns quickly takes the snap. Tate up the middle. Boy, he's been a workhorse here in this first half. He's done the dirty work. And he gets it out for 7 more yards. Antonio Clay made the stop. All the linebackers for Clemson in this game were not the normal starters. 2 of their top 3 tacklers declared academically ineligible. The 3rd one, Courtney Vincent, has been implicated in a DUI arrest that they're just going to let play out in the legal system. So he didn't start the game, but he is playing tonight. So 3 guys, and then Christian Capote on the offensive line, also academically ineligible. So it's a different look, especially on the Clemson defense. Tate, he tackled himself that time.
Oh, and he was wide open.
Yeah.
The hole was there. All he had to do was keep his feet.
Talking about those linebackers who aren't with us, Watkins was a leading tackler. Take a look at the hole here. Oh
boy.
Yes. Look at this.
You could have run through there, Grease.
The only guy in his way would have been the umpire. And he tripped on his own, and it's 4th down. So out comes the field goal unit. Wes Byram hit a 36-yarder earlier for his 17th field goal of the year. And he'll try a 44-yarder this time. They'll try to make it a 1-point game. Whoa! That one was headed to the middle, and boy, did it take a right-hand turn. No good. Clemson maintains its lead here in the 2nd quarter in Atlanta, 7-3. The skyline of Atlanta kind of lit up a little bit extra with the Auburn and Clemson logos in the Chick-fil-A Bowl. Both Tigers, of course, and both with a lot of orange in the uniform. So it's been an orange out in downtown Atlanta over the last few days. Clemson with a touchdown on their last drive and an 83-yard run by C.J. Spiller. James Davis now is the tailback, and Aaron Kelly the motion man on first down. Toss to Davis. Davis picks up his blockers well and then levels somebody on the corner out there and picks up a first down. He ran over Zach Etheridge and a pickup of 13.
You know, we talked about at the in the opening about big play guys for Clemson being Davis and Aaron Kelly, the wide receiver, but Spiller, you saw what he could do. And they've lost the wide receiver Jacoby Ford earlier in the year. So these guys had 4 guys that can really light it up quickly, and they'll all be back next year.
If they choose to come back.
Yes.
James Davis, a lot of people think, has enough talent to maybe go out early to the NFL. Flags are down as they fake the end around and they throw it to Davis, and a flag on the field anyway, so that one was coming back even if it would have been completed. Let's wait and see what the penalty's about. The officials, Jack Wood is our referee. The officials are from the Pac-10 for our Chick-fil-A Bowl tonight.
Obviously, Davis is not coming out as a receiver.
Well, that one was kind of blown up from the get-go, if you ask me.
It was.
A little fake into the line, a fake reverse, and a little roll-out pass.
And all of that is an offside against the Tigers of Auburn. Tommy Bowden's never won 10 games in a season at Clemson.
Penalty, replay, first down.
He has won more than that when he was a head coach at Tulane in a single year. 5th penalty now.
We were talking to Will Muschamp, the defensive coordinator, the other day from Auburn, and he says you just have to get through the 15 or 20 plays, their first script for Clemson, because they'll do some weird things. They'll come out in formations and motions that we haven't practiced for.
And here's one as Cullen Harper's not a big runner, but he is there for a first down.
So we just got to get through the first 15 or 20 plays to let them run all their weird stuff they've been working on.
And Will, a very highly thought of defensive coordinator. He in fact interviewed for the Georgia Tech head coaching job that went to Paul Johnson. And Harper, nice run by Cullen Harper.
Well, that's a nice fake, though. You know, when you're faking to James Davis, and everybody really thinks he's going to get the ball, it's kind of an easy thing for the quarterback to just step to the outside.
First down now at the Auburn 41. Low snap, hand off to James Davis on the corner. Davis going forward, running downhill, gets to about the 34-yard line. Capital One Bowl Week, featuring over 20 bowl games in 12 days on the ESPN Family Networks, continues tomorrow. The Wisconsin Badgers get up early, eat the cheese, and get going because the Tennessee Volunteers in the Outback Bowl, part of Capital One Bowl Week on ESPN. 11 o'clock Eastern time tomorrow morning. That's just about what time I'll be getting up.
Wasn't that the time? Wasn't it the time that Florida State game started today?
It was a long one, wasn't it?
It's about what time? About what time McGuire's getting in.
Coming too. 2nd down and 3.
Keep it up. I'll be up there.
I know. Hey, I'm going to have to take a timeout here.
The door's locked.
Harper didn't like the look of something with 9:14 remaining, so Clemson takes its 2nd time out of the first half with 9:14 remaining in the 2nd quarter. The Bowl Challenge Cup, the SEC and the ACC. ACC 2 and 3. SEC hasn't lost a game yet. Mountain West did really well, didn't they? They got they have maybe one more to play, but 4-1 for the Mountain West. We saw one of those last week when BYU beat UCLA in the last play of the game. Cullen Harper, local product, playing up the road in Clemson a couple hours. He knows how important this game is tonight.
Win for this season. I believe that marks, a great year. We'd have a chance to finish in the top 15 this year. Maybe have a chance to be in the preseason top 10 next year with all the starters we have returning next year.
11 Georgians on their team, 17 seniors play in their last game, but as Bob said earlier, and Cullen just echoed it, they could really be something next year if everybody comes back. Here's Harper, who comes up throwing. His receiver had slipped, though, trying to make his cut. That was Grisham, the intended receiver, and coming out of his break, he fell down.
Yeah. In fact, Clemson has 19 of the 22 starters back next year that started this ball game. And we were talking with Tommy the other day. He says, in 08, we got all those boys back. We're going to make a run for the run for the title.
We mentioned earlier they haven't won 10 games in 17 years. And the last time they won 10 games in a season, they had a number 10 playing quarterback who was a Georgia kid. And that's what they got right now in Cullen Harper. Here's a throwback to Kelly, and boy, did Auburn have that nailed. Gerard Powers played it beautifully.
Well, I'm going to tell you something, Ness. Powers, you hit it on the head. He just stayed with Kelly. Kelly came out in motion. Powers watched him. He moved along the line of scrimmage with him. It was right out here in front of me. He just waits. When Kelly goes back to the backfield, Powers just made the play. It could have almost looked like he could intercept the ball.
Mark Buckholt's career long is 52. That was against Wake Forest earlier this year. They're going to give him a shot from 53.
But there's no wind in this building. This is a great place to be a kicker.
Buckholt's the dual sports star, also a soccer player at Clemson, and he pushed it to the right. He got enough leg into it, but it's no good. So we've had back-to-back missed field goals. And the score remains the same. 8 minutes, 22 seconds remaining in the second quarter. Still Clemson leading 7-3. Did you know that Coach Bowden was Auburn's offensive coordinator and wide receiver coach in the 90s, and also running back coach way back in 80. And the last time these two teams played in Atlanta in this bowl game, his brother Terry was the head coach at Auburn.
Brother Terry. Now Terry's up for the West Virginia job along with Butch Jones and Doc Holliday and
Wyatt Earp.
West Virginia's looking for a head coach.
Only a couple coaching vacancies still available. Brandon Cox back to throw. Has to go way over on the sideline. Got a man wide open over there, and it's going to be a first down. Tim Hawthorne, and give Brandon Cox credit. He scanned all over the place and then said, whoa, I got guy way over there. 12-yard pickup and a first down.
This is Hawthorne on the outside. Look at it, and everybody leaves him. He's just standing there, and he said, please notice his blue shirt.
It's a nice tackle by the true freshman Cooper.
And now Cody Burns back in at quarterback. Brad Lester flanking him. And it's Lester. No, it's Burns.
Cody Burns
on the keeper. And Cody Burns showing a little Juice Williams there. Goes for 9 yards.
You want to know why they like him in this spread offense? That last play he just ran, he put a move, and I'll tell you what, he's got some great feet.
Well, as a senior quarterback last year, had 23 touchdowns throwing, and he rushed for over 800 yards and 13 more scoring opportunities on the ground. So he's a kind of multi-threat that we've seen more and more of in this college football season.
And I think you're going to see more of it, the spread offense.
Because so many high schools run it now, it's hard to find a drop back quarterback, and that's part of the reason Tommy Tuberville told us that the change was made in the offensive coordinator system, and this is not what Tommy Tuberville normally would do. He likes to play smash mouth and play great defense, and he said, you know, everybody's changing, and we got to change too.
Well, he had the offense had gotten worse progressively through the last 4 years, and it just got to a point where he says we've got to go to something, do something to score points, and also use it for recruiting. He says our best wide receiver is a walk-on wide receiver. We need to get wide receivers in this program.
Right. Here's Brandon Cox off play action, firing to the near sideline, and it is almost intercepted. Hit the ground, but Chris Chancellor almost came up with a diving pick there. Auburn offensively under Al Borges. You know, it's weird because Al was almost the coordinator of the year about 4 seasons ago, but then things got worse.
Yeah, 04 to 05 to 06 to 07, and this is where they were this year when Tommy Tuberville said, you know, we need to make a change.
Brandon Cox running kind of a dual offense tonight, a little bit of the old and a lot of the new. Here's a pass over the middle, got it to his tight end. This one's complete at about the 36-yard line. Pick up a 5, Tommy Trott. Tackled by Courtney Vincent. So the tight ends a bigger part of the offense tonight than they've been in a long time.
Yeah, and Tony Franklin, who the offensive coordinator that came over from Troy, he was there for 2 years. When he got there, they were the worst offense in the league. When he left, they were the best. And the quarterback was the player of the year in the Sun Belt Conference last year and this year.
Brandon Cox, that running play going nowhere for Brad Lester. Loss of 1. And Rashad Jackson is the guy that made first contact and then got help from his friends. So it's third down. I beg your pardon, fourth down. And out comes the punting team again. Ryan Shoemaker to punt. Aaron Kelly, the lone man, back at about the 10-yard line this time for Clemson. Shoemaker's going to try to angle it, hit it high in the air, and too far. So a touchback. And Clemson will go to work again at the 20-yard line. So Clemson's one score tonight came in a hurry on an 83-yard Chick-fil-A Bowl record run by C.J. Spiller. Now that's all we've got on the scoreboard. Both defenses have played pretty well. And 5:40 remaining here in the first half. 46th meeting between Clemson and Auburn. It goes all the way back to 1899. Countdown to New Year in Rio de Janeiro is seconds away. And we'll celebrate it after this play. And Spiller dumped after about a 2-yard gain. And I know, Paul, you have some special thoughts.
Yeah, Keperegondo Usted. This is a Happy New Year from Rio de Janeiro. I just want to wish everybody in Charleston, South Carolina, where I'm from, happy Thanksgiving and Happy New Year and happy.
There we go.
They
have the ball drop in New York. We have the peach drop in Atlanta. That was the Paul drop for Rio de Janeiro.
I'm going to beat
somebody
the living daylights out. You ought to see the
somebody drink. What about this? Dump some champagne on him. Come on.
I got your champagne.
Happy New Year in Rio de Janeiro. Kellen Harper got a man. Oh, just overshot Aaron Kelly. That would have been a touchdown. Kelly was behind about 3 defenders, and Cullen Harper had just a little bit too much on it.
Well designed, a good route, just a little bit too much. Just a little bit too much of the too much steam on the throw. Right here, right up the chute between the zones.
Ooh. Only 2 catches for 5 yards for Aaron Kelly. They've thrown 6 his way. Third down and long, 3rd and 7 at the 23. Grisham, the motion man.
Here they come.
Harper stepped away from one, but not the second wave. Sacked and a loss of 5.
This defense of Will Muschamps is doing a nice job. They've done a nice job all year.
Antonio Coleman, Bob, he's a good one. That's his 8th sack of the year. 3rd time 3 and out, so Clemson's got to give the football back. Keep playing the ball game. If you didn't see it earlier, C.J. Spiller got outside. He's a track man at Clemson, and he's a load to try to bring down, and he was gone 83 yards. That's the biggest play of the ball game so far. 7-3, Clemson in front with 4 minutes and change remaining in the first half. Jimmy Mainers to punt from near his own 5-yard line. Not a good kick at all. Off the side of his foot and out of bounds at about the 36-yard line. Or did it bounce back in? Either way, it's inside the 40.
Well, that's one of Clemson's problems. They've got good offense and defense, but their kickers have not been very good this year. Their special teams are weak.
Coming up at halftime, the Flomax halftime reports. As we'll have all the scores and highlights from the other bowl games today. Look ahead to the Rose Bowl tomorrow. It's coming up in about 4 minutes. Bob, you said a mouthful there, because 2 of the 3 losses Clemson suffered this year to Georgia Tech and Virginia Tech, their special teams were anything but. Had they played even decent and not given up punt returns, kickoff returns for touchdowns, they had punts blocked. They missed 4 field goals against Georgia Tech. You have a little better special teams play, they might be looking at already being 10 and something or 11 and something. Brandon Cox, quick throw out to Robert Dunn. Dunn draws a crowd at the 35, just inside the 35, pickup of about 3.
And this is one of those things, when you get a turnover like this, you've got to score. And I'm not talking about 3 points. They need to put 7 on that board.
Without the huddle, Brandon Cox taking his time. Auburn has all its timeouts remaining. 3.5 minutes left in the quarter. 2nd down and 7. They don't want to waste a bad punt in great field position, as Paul just said, trying to regain the lead before halftime. Cox wanted to throw out to the left and finally does. Got it to Dunn. Dunn putting some moves on guys, giving a lot of ground, looking for blocks. All he found was Tigers. And I mean Clemson Tigers. Loss on the play. Byron Maxwell made a nice job there to stay with it and make the tackle. Don't forget, before the ball drops and 2007 ends, you can witness an out-of-this-world jump. Robbie Madison attempting a world record motorcycle jump the length of the football field. New Year, no limits. Follows us here on New Year's Eve on ESPN.
What's he going to have? A rocket in that thing, or has he got a parachute?
We'll find out. Goal line to goal line at Sam Boyd Stadium in Vegas. Brandon Cox in the pocket, flags are down. We probably got a holding call coming up, and an incompletion anyway, intended to Brad Lester, in and out of his hands.
You know what's bad about this? If this is a holding call, they only had 3 men coming. They'd be in Clemson.
Personal foul on Auburn. And boy, you talk about wasting great field position.
I mean, and it really is. You got 5 offensive linemen, and you're only blocking 3 guys that are rushing.
Personal foul, offense, number 73. Hands to the face. That penalty is declined. 4th down.
Lee Zimba, one of those true freshman offensive linemen.
He's the one that had the problem with Merling a little bit earlier.
He just had another problem with him, I think.
On the spin move.
So they've got to punt it right back.
Well, they had great field position and couldn't do anything with it.
They went the wrong direction.
Again, for those who have just tuned in, this is a whole new offense that Auburn is attempting to run with like 10 practices and 3 weeks of work on it.
Shoemaker. And he wanted to angle it to the corner, and he had a terrible kick. You saw after the last punt, they said, why didn't you angle it to the sideline instead of kicking it in the end zone? And he took that a little too literally.
That's a 10-yard punt, Ness.
He might need a new Shoemaker, I think.
Well, there was
I don't know if the shoe was the problem.
There was a guy in his face also. Merling was back there putting the hand up, and he was probably concerned about getting it blocked.
But the one thing you have to do, though, when you're back as a punter is you've got to keep your eye on the ball. He can see the guy just to his right. He's angling right at it. Actually, he's almost stepping right into the defensive guy. If you're going to, they tell you to kick. I know, but
you're a punter. You got to tell him you got to punt right or punt left, don't you?
You got to punt left. If you're a right-footed kicker, you kick to the left-hand side of the field, because if you shank the ball, at least it goes down the middle. When you shank the ball here, it's a 10-yard punt.
Harper going to go deep. Grisham trying to make the adjustment. He couldn't quite find it back there in the secondary. Well, that would have been a big play as well.
We need to ask Paul more punting questions.
Well, he keeps telling us you got to go left.
Sounds like he knows what he's talking about.
He does.
I know.
He punted a long time in the National Football League.
I know he did.
I know a little bit about quarterbacking, too, you know. And I'll tell you one other thing I know about. There's no confetti left in Atlanta because I ate it all.
C.J. Spiller back into the Clemson backfield. Maybe he's got one more long one in him before halftime. 2nd and 10. Harper steps up and loads and goes deep. Man out there trying to make the catch as Spiller incompletes. Well, C.J. wanted a flag, and he ran down the field in a hurry, but they stayed right with him. Pretty good job out there by Powers and company.
Well, that tells you about the speed of Spiller. One-on-one on the cornerback Powers. He came into the ball game with 32 catches, 51 for his career.
And the ball wasn't even deep enough. And Powers out there, you saw him, could have just kind of kept a hand there close. And I know where you are, I know where you are. And now behind Colin Harper. 3rd and 10. Blitz. Pumps once. Here he goes again. Going out there to Rendrick Taylor. Have you ever seen more long balls that were just that close?
Now, Taylor doesn't have the speed as Spiller. Taylor is 6'2" and 240. Trying to catch that now is not hard to overthrow a receiver that's that big.
We've had 2 possessions here that have only lasted a minute apiece, if that, and about 3:55, I said so-and-so Auburn had a great chance to score before halftime because of their field position. Well, here's Clemson giving it right back to them. Remember, the last punt only went 20 yards. Both punts have been bad on each side the last 2 times they got out there. See if Jimmy Mainers can get a little more on this one. He did, but it's returnable. Robert Dunn got by the first man, looking for a block. Dunn out to the 43. Nice return. 16 yards on the punt return. We told you the Aflac trivia question a little earlier, and you had an opportunity to get involved and try to come up with the right play. Who scored the winning touchdown? In the 4th quarter, Auburn came from behind to win 21-17, and it was Rusty Williams.
There you go.
7-yard touchdown run for Rusty. Let's take you back to that play. We'll not only give you the answer, we sure what it looked like. Watch this little cutback. Whoop, right there. Got a block. High stepped it in. 21-17 final Auburn.
Has Auburn had a bunch of good running backs down through the years?
A few, huh?
Yeah.
They've had Rusties and Ronnies and Cadillacs and Jacksons and Andrews and Cribbses. William Andrews, one of them, as a matter of fact, and his number has been retired here in the Georgia Dome. William was more of a blocking back in the day, but came to Atlanta and became an all-pro running back. And his son Micah Andrews at Wake Forest had the icing touchdown run the other night in Demon Deacons victory.
This gets me the way all the offensive line just stands up and looks over.
Now it is wasting time a little bit right now. 2nd down and 6. Every second is vital. You're going to try to score before halftime. Long throw, and what a play with one hand. The last second by Chris Chancellor. That was a long throw for Brandon Cox, and Chancellor diving out there with the left hand to get it in the way of the intended receiver.
Well, if Cox throws that thing on a rope, he's got a completion. He just gave Chancellor a chance to get to the ball. Look how long this ball is in the air. It's just way too long. Chancellor makes a nice play on the football, not on the man.
In Brandon Cox's defense, Grease, I bet you would say that is a long throw.
It is a long throw, and guys that can make that throw are playing in the next level, I'll tell you.
That's right. Cody Burns back in at quarterback now, the freshman. And he's going to step back after he faked the run, and he's throwing downfield, but nobody home. There's nobody even out of the pattern. They were all Clemson Tigers out there.
There was one guy in the pattern, Grease, and that was all. They just had one receiver, and that was Smith.
Well, Cody Burns was expecting him to be to the post and not across the field.
So we got another punt coming up by Ryan Shoemaker.
Bunch of 3 and outs here.
Have you ever seen this many possessions in about 3 minutes?
Yeah.
Shoemaker's last kick was, what, 10 yards, right?
I'm trying to get to halftime to have a Chick-fil-A.
I know where you're going. You got 62 seconds, partner. Hold on. There, he got a hold of that one. Hung it up in the Georgia Dome lights. Bounces at the 4 and into the end zone. Touchback. So 54 seconds remaining. 53-yard kick that time after a 10-yarder earlier.
You know, one of the things we are seeing too, though, Ness and Bob, is a new offense. And when you look at it, you're seeing a lot of mistakes being made. And they're not being made by the offensive linemen. They're being made by the receivers and the running backs.
Just so much to do to install or try to in a hurry before a bowl game. Of course, when spring practice rolls around, then the lights will come on all the time.
Just to familiarize our listeners about what we're talking about in the spread, it's the same offense that Appalachian State used to beat Michigan, and that Oregon used to beat Michigan the following week, or that Illinois used to beat Ohio State.
Harper, dangerous throw, boy. That's the way you play cornerback and put it on the receiver, Patrick Lee. And I can see why the coaches think so highly of number 20, the captain of the defense, a senior out of Miami, Florida.
He went to Christopher Columbus High School.
That's where your son went.
Where Brian went, and Mike Shula, and it's a good Catholic boys school down there.
Grisham got about 3, and we're down to 20 seconds. Looks like Clemson's just going to take the 7-3 lead into the locker room as they're walking over to the sideline. Tommy Bowden looking for his 70th victory at Clemson in his 9 years. Tommy Tuberville looking for his 80th in his 9th year in the plains of Auburn. Pretty good game here at halftime. Let's go down to Bonnie.
All right, Coach, you weren't quite sure what you were going to get from your offense. Give me the positives and negatives from what you've seen.
Well, you know, we're not lining up right a lot of times. A lot of times our backs are the wrong side for protections. We knew we'd get some of that. We can't block 94. He's pretty good. Both our defensive ends are pretty good. We just got to settle down a little bit. We'll be all right as long as we just quit making mental errors.
On the flip side, you know Clemson's confused a lot of defenses with the motion and shifting. How has your team been able to keep them in check, basically?
Well, we've done a pretty good job, you know, on both sides of the ball. We just missed that one tackle down there, but we'll be fine. We just got to settle down on offense. We're a little bit antsy right now, making too many mistakes.
All right, Coach, thank you.
That one mistake and one missed tackle was an 83-yard touchdown by C.J. Spiller that's given Clemson the lead. 7-3 at the break as we head to the Flomax halftime report. Reese, Lou, and Mark. It's all yours, guys.
All right, Brad, we anticipated a hard-hitting defensive struggle, and that's exactly what we're getting so far. Offensive coordinator change or not, all about defense in the first half. SportsCenter halftime report brought to you by Flomax. You heard what Tommy Tuberville had to say about Auburn's new offense. So what was your reaction to the first half for the Tigers, for the Auburn Tigers?
Well, it wasn't very impressive, particularly in view of the fact that they averaged about 165 yards a half prior to this change. But let me point this out. If you can be in a spread offense, your quarterback has to be a threat running to really make it effective. If your quarterback is not a running threat, and Brandon Cox is not, then you must have very prolific wide receivers who can beat people one-on-one and an exceptionally accurate quarterback. Oklahoma, for example, is successful in this offense without a running quarterback. But for it to really be outstanding, the quarterback has to be a running threat.
So you're not impressed with Tony Franklin's new offense?
No, but you don't expect it. I mean, it's just a couple days.
I know. How can you be critical? Give him a chance. Give him time.
I'm trying to inform the audience, Mark. I should have tried to inform you, but that's a little difficult sometimes.
But you look at this offense. Yeah, they're not moving the ball very well. They're not putting the points, 3 points on it. But Tommy Tuberville said it just before halftime. Your backs are lined up in the wrong spot. They're not getting the protection for the quarterback. That's something that's very simple to correct. You correct it on the sidelines, or you have your quarterback correct it, because if your back's in the wrong spot, you say, you're on the wrong side, move over here, because if not, I'm going to get drilled in the ear hole. That's something that's very simple to correct.
Especially with Brandon Cox playing in his last game at Auburn. He'd like to leave with all of his faculties. You know, make it you here, he's coming, get him. Right.
I'd make sure I knew who got 94.
Yes, 94 would be a good idea to block him. Still ahead on the SportsCenter halftime report, presented by Flomax. We'll take you down to a game that lasted a while between Florida State and Kentucky and show you how the Wildcats were able to pull things out late.
This is the Flomax Halftime Report.
Gaylord Hotels Music City Bowl, Kentucky and Florida State. Andre Woodson would set a couple of records in this game, a school and SEC record for touchdown passes in a season. This does not count as a touchdown pass for his team. Instead, it's a pick six. Tony Carter, bend over, Yum will be there. Florida State got flagged for that, a little excessive celebration, so said the men in stripes. It's 21-14. Tony Dixon weaving through traffic. Cats up 28-14. Drew Weatherford did a good job running the football today, Lou.
Oh, he did an excellent job. This was his second touchdown running.
Later in the fourth, 28-21 Cats. Woodson, one of his 4 TD passes to Steve Johnson, 79th of his career. Mark.
Oh, what a great job by Steve Johnson of finishing off this play, taking it in for the score for Kentucky.
40 touchdown passes in a season breaks Danny Werfel, former Heisman Trophy winner's SEC record. Here is Weatherford. The final play of the game, down by 7. Seminoles trying to save
it down.
Hey, look, Kentucky did everything in its power to try to give Florida State every opportunity to win this game late. They put the ball on the ground numerous times, but it is the Cats who come back and take the victory home. Woodson finishing off a glorious career. Kentucky winning back-to-back bowl games for the first time since 1950 and 51.
When Bear Bryant, I believe, was coach.
That is correct. Won the SEC title then in 1950 also, to be precise. Indiana and Oklahoma State. This game in the Insight Bowl, and to give you a little insight, it was all pokes all the time. Mayday, Zach Robinson to Desmond Bryant, and they would do it again.
Beautiful catch by Desmond Bryant, making sure his hands are underneath the ball. Zach Robinson again, going back to the well. Who is it again?
Desmond Bryant.
Nice catch.
How old is the Oklahoma State head coach?
He's 40. He'll be 42 in 2 years.
He's the man. He's the man right now. 9:30 to go. Oklahoma State on its way to a bowl victory. Oregon and USF, that's University of South Florida, And Bellatti's team, despite stumbling after the injury to Dennis Dixon, played extraordinarily well. Justin Roper, the redshirt freshman quarterback, what a great job Bellatti and Chip Kelly did getting him ready. Threw the touchdown pass, and here a little trickeration on the two-point conversion attempt. Oregon had an 8-0 lead. South Florida with Matt Grothe, the elusive one.
Incredible. Look at him. He gets away from a rush. That's a 280-pound defensive end, and he throws the ball down the field to Torres Johnson for the 21-yard touchdown.
Torres maybe, but I think that was more LTD type of move, right? Gran Torino, Grothe, Cedric Hill, that's their two-point conversion to tie it at 11. And that's pretty much going to end the good news for South Florida in this portion of the highlight. There goes Jonathan Stewart.
He ran right by the defensive back. He must have think they were playing with two footballs because he could not see Jonathan Stewart with the ball.
Stewart with that 71-yarder pretty much doubled his rushing output to that point. Roper then to Ed Dixon. Ed going in for the touchdown is 32-14. Oregon would score 28 in the third quarter, including the pick six. Walter Thurmond to the third. Walter Thurmond to the third. Going in for the score of 56-21. High-scoring Sun Bowl in the 74-year history of the game. Fighting Tedford's Cal against Air Force. Bell Helicopter Armed Forces Bowl. Air Force jumped out of the gate, already up 7-0. Sean Carney, Travis Decker. Falcons flying up 14-0. They had a 21-0. Kevin Riley, the backup, came into the game. Remember, Mayday let the clock run out against Oregon State. Boy, did the kid atone, throwing to Deshaun Jackson, who was suspended for the first quarter. Then Riley to Lavelle Hawkins.
And we'll look at this pretty pass. Just when Lavelle Hawkins could turn around and adjust to the football, come down with a pretty catch. You look at the Cal quarterback situation for the future, it looks pretty good.
Hey, look, if you don't want to put a damper on your New Year's Eve party, look away on this replay. Sean Carney, who's just been outstanding for Air Force at quarterback, trying to get in late. Takes a vicious shot on the knee, a completely clean football play, but an injury nonetheless. Carney was carried off the field. Cal led 28-27. Here's Justin Forsett.
Just a tremendous end to a tremendous career. This young man has been one of the better backs in the country.
42-36 Cal, which lost 6 of 7 down the stretch, finishing on a positive note. Rhodey's Humanitarian Bowl. That's John Tenuta. He's an interim coach. Georgia Tech against Fresno State. What happens to interim coaches, Lou?
They usually lose, but not this time. Georgia Tech takes the opening drive, goes down and scores. Head 7-zip.
Taylor Bennett to Demarius Thomas, 7-0. Mark, I ask you, what happens to interim coaches in the bowl?
They lose, Coach. You want to know why? Because Clifton Smith, the running back for Fresno State, was on fire today.
Blue, I ask you, what happens to defenses when they face quarterbacks who can run?
They have all kinds of problems, even if they aren't real fast, even if they're slow, even if they're timed by an hourglass.
24 yards for Tom Grandstater. 34-21, the third quarterback that Tenuta played. Leaving it up for grabs. Well, Paul Johnson's going to enjoy that decision-making, but it worked out pretty well. DJ Donnelly, 34-28, and for a while, Tech had life, not anymore.
Oh, Clifton Smith, what great blocking on the left side of the offensive line for Fresno State. Touchdown again, this one 32 yards.
Clifton Smith leading a dominant attack for Fresno State, 40-28. Rick Neuheisel, the new head coach at UCLA. His duties are finished with the Baltimore Ravens now, so he had time to meet the masses and declare himself a Bruin once again.
This is going to be a very, very good fit for all of us. I said we have 2 rules. We're going to, one rule is to get the job done. No matter what it takes, we're going to get the job done. And the second rule is to enjoy each other's company and laugh every day. Because this is a special place. I couldn't ask for a better scenario for myself in terms of wanting the chance to prove that I can do this job, that I can do it in the right way, and to do it with my friends and my family. That is everything. So I'm not sure I can articulate it the way probably is the best soundbite, but it's pretty darn exciting.
Hey, if I might offer some advice with the eyes that are going to be on Rick, I'd advise more than 2 rules. We'll look ahead to the Rose Bowl coming up.
This halftime report brought to you by Flomax.
And our congratulations to Lloyd Carr as well. His team will take on Florida tomorrow. C.J. Spiller and Clemson, longest run in Chick-fil-A Bowl history, and the only touchdown in the first half. Clemson on top of Auburn, 7-3.
This halftime report brought to you by Flomax.
Welcome back to ESPN's presentation of Capital One Bowl Week.
A yearly tradition here in Atlanta at the Georgia Dome. The 1,000-member band made up of students from around the country. They marched in the National Chick-fil-A Bowl parade in downtown Atlanta earlier today. Then they came out here and got everybody wound up in the pregame, and now they join us here at the Georgia Dome for this memorable halftime show. Great job, great halftime performance. 7-3, Clemson leads at the break. Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl in Atlanta. Happy New Year, everybody. Clemson leading Auburn 7-3 as we are just about set to start the third quarter. Only touchdown in the ball game was C.J. Spiller, 83 yards. Both offenses, of course, Auburn's got a new offense. Brandon Cox has run it the majority of the first half. And you take a look at the stats, and, well, not much offensively for either team. One's rushing it pretty well, but that's courtesy of 83 yards by C.J. Spiller.
Right. 3 and outs. They've both had some 3 and outs and missed field goals. Even though we're indoors, the kicking game hasn't been real stellar. We've had some bad punts, too, along with some missed field goals.
We didn't have a first down by either team in the final 7 minutes of the first half. That's how many punts and changes of possession that we had before the end of the second quarter.
That's why I went and got a cup of coffee.
Yeah, I know you did. You're trying to warm yourself up, too. Patrick Lee about a yard deep across the 20, but that's about it. And so Auburn's going to start at about the 22-yard line. And going to have to make some adjustments, Mr. Greasy and Mr. McGuire, if they're going to get these two teams going.
Well, Clemson, you know, you got to get the ball to your playmakers. Nothing has changed there. And for Auburn, you got to trust that new offense. You're with it. You're stuck with it. It's only going to get better. It might get worse before it gets better, but I'm talking long term.
Right. You know, some of the Auburn folks I talked to at halftime, they said, you know, Brandon knows what he's doing, but he can't run very well running this thing. And Cody can run really well, but he doesn't know how to throw it.
He doesn't know what he's doing yet.
Here's Cox in the first throw, and that's a strike and a first down. Montez Billings. Let's check in with Bonnie.
Well, guys, you could tell Tommy Bowden thought Clemson got away with one when Auburn wasn't to capitalize on the good field position from the bad punt. Those 2 missed field goals, honestly, not something that's all that new for Clemson. They were 20 for 34 coming into this game for field goals. Now, what has been uncharacteristic is Cullen Harper's inability to make it on the deep ball. That's not totally his fault, but something that needs to get done.
Brad Lester here on the carry. Lester had a sensational run in the first half. He got out to about the 41-yard line, and I think that is the key. It's kind of a out-of-whack thing for Cullen Harper. He's one of the top quarterbacks in the country. He just can't get it rolling.
Well, and he can't get the ball to Aaron Kelly, and Aaron Kelly is his top guy. Kelly's caught over 160 balls in his career, 16 touchdown passes, and he has only caught like 1 ball all night, so he needs to get the ball to him.
And Bonnie was talking about there's been some misfires where it looked like could have been big plays, but just a little bit too deep or underthrown, whatever the case might be. Meanwhile, Auburn's offense, Paul, you've watched him from field level. Your impressions in the first half?
Well, I think also what Tuberville told Bonnie, too, was the fact that, you know, the skilled players are making the mistakes. The linemen really aren't. They made it, you know, they were offside. They moved once, and it was a clip penalty. But other than that, it's the guys in the skill position that are making the mistakes, and they're not sure of where to go. Cody
Burns knows where to go when he's running with it. It's down to the 45. That's what the Auburn folks were telling me. He knows how to run.
Yeah, he turned right into his own player, or he could have gotten some more yardage out of this one.
If you look at him, though, you know, when he's going now, he's just running the daylight, and he sees the play back to the inside, and he runs into his own man. But the thing about it is, these guys, when you have to, as you know, Bob, if you're on offense and you have to think, they pay you to react and not to think, and that's what these guys are doing, too much thinking.
Crossing pattern here, complete to Fannin. Fannin, exciting in the open field, got about 5 with his forward progress down to the 40-yard line. Chancellor made the stop.
I like that kid. I'd buy some stock in number 27, Fannin.
He's another Georgia kid from Hampton.
He's a redshirt freshman, and he's just learning his way around, and I like him a lot.
Cody Burns back in as we continue to change up Auburn quarterbacks. Lester, left side, going to be close to a first down. Might have it. Jamie Cumbie on the stop. Bonnie?
By the way, guys, in the bowels of the Georgia Dome at halftime, Vic Koenig, Clemson's defensive coordinator, had a nice little chat with the officials. About making sure they're keeping an eye out for Auburn's cut blocking.
Well, we've seen that, and here's Burns again, and still on his feet to the 30-yard line. And now flag comes in as maybe too many Clemson Tigers aboard as they were trying to take him down.
Bob, this is the deal with them, with a guy like Cody Burns, is a guy that's got the quick feet. Now you start faking the ball to Lester, and you're going to got a quarterback that's mobile that can run. That's what makes him so effective.
Number 12.
Now they have two quarterbacks on the field. Cox is on the field and Burns is on the field. One of them's got to get off.
Well, not necessarily.
Oh, yeah. Burns is off.
I was talking to Tony Franklin for quite a while before the ball game and asking him how he was going to play those two quarterbacks, and he really said, you know, it's Brandon Cox's last game. It's his fifth-year senior, and he really wanted to give the majority of the game to Brandon Cox.
Cox with a throw out on the flat. Tate still on his feet, and he's down inside the 20-yard line. Brandon Cox, a senior out of Trussville, Alabama. Interesting story for him is he didn't even play football the first year coming out, and we'll talk more about that as their drive continues. He turned 24, and he's older than 18 guys on NFL rosters right now that are quarterbacks.
18 guys.
Here's Tate hitting the backfield. Coach Tuberville talked with us about his fifth-year senior quarterback.
When he came to Auburn, he didn't know what he wanted to do. I actually sent him home. Said, it's not, you know, college is not for you. He sets out for a semester. He works for his dad in a carpet factory, putting down carpet. And after 3 or 4 months of that, he decided football didn't look quite as bad.
Yeah.
Now he's playing on the carpet of the Georgia Dome. Here's Burns over the middle. Touchdown, Auburn. Mario Fannin from Cody Burns. Cody Burns only his second touchdown toss of the year, but it comes in the Chick-fil-A Bowl.
Just going to find his way across field, and Burns gets the ball to him. This is a nice play by two freshmen that are going to be around here for the next 3 or 4 years. That stock I just bought,
it's going up.
And Fannin just took off.
Wes Byram for the point after. And it caps a 10-play drive, 78 yards in 3 minutes and 27 seconds. And the rotating quarterback system works. This is Burns, and he burns the Clemson Tiger defense to give the Auburn Tigers the lead back.
Play bowl. It's our intention not only to produce a great bowl game, but also to have a positive influence on others. In fact, this year we'll be presenting $100,000 to the General Scholarship Program for both Clemson and Auburn University, part of over $1 million that will be given away to worthy charities as a result of this game. And who makes this game possible? It's our Chick-fil-A Bowl staff, volunteers, Chick-fil-A operators and team members all coming together to make Chick-fil-A what it is, 6 days a week, 52 weeks a year. Hey, on behalf of these cows, we hope you enjoy this year's Chick-fil-A Bowl.
And this telecast is available in HD, presented by Pioneer Kuro HD TV. Dan, we are enjoying the Chick-fil-A Bowl, and Bob, of course, indulged at halftime again, trying to set the Chick-fil-A sandwich record
2 years ago.
That he set originally 2 years ago.
I had never heard of Chick-fil-A until 2 years ago when we did this game. We were hungry at halftime. They brought some of these sandwiches down, and I've been a customer ever since.
I've been eating them for years and years, but your first taste was the LSU-Miami game 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Here's a kick. C.J. Spiller at about the 9. Spiller across the 35. Nice return by C.J. out near the 37-yard line. Errol Johnson made the tackle on the special teams. 29-yard kick return by the guy that electrified us with his run in the first half. Just to finish up the Brandon Cox story, here's what Coach Tuberville talked about now that he's back and playing football for him for 5 years.
And so he comes back, and totally had changed his perspective on his future. And every day since then, for the last 4.5 years, he's worked very hard. He's not a great athlete in terms of running around with a football. He doesn't have a lot of speed, but he's smart.
He's been a smart one. He's been maligned sometimes by the Auburn fans, and then he's had great games. You got to remember, not very many guys beat Alabama 3 times if you're playing quarterback at Auburn.
Exactly. He's smart and he's accurate. Those are his assets. He's not real flashy. He's not real quick. Doesn't have a strong arm, not a gun, but he just manages the game and wins games. His fifth-year senior he started his 36th game here tonight. He's got 26 wins under his belt.
And that's tied with Eric Ainge for the most of any active quarterback in the SEC. Here's a trying to throw back wide receiver screen, and that was almost 6 going the other way for Powers.
You know that this screen was covered. If you take a look at this thing from the top, this thing was covered on both sides. Something tipped these guys off on their screen passes because they haven't been able to throw one yet. Take a look at on both sides where they're going to try. They fake a screen to the right, their right. Clemson's right, and to their left. It goes back. Now watch these guys read it. They read it on both sides. There was really no place to throw the ball.
I think that's just good preparation, good film study.
Coach Muschamp has done a heck of a job. His guys know what's coming. They can see it. That's what Paul's talking about.
Impressed with Will Muschamp, the defensive coordinator.
Clemson was #1 in the ACC in third down conversions. Tonight they're 1 for 7. They're 1 for 8. So Cullen Harper, our out-of-whack statistic, 37 passing yards in the first half and completed 30-yard passes in 9 of the 12 games this season. So those big home run balls, he threw a few that looked like they were plays that would have worked, but he's overshot most of the guys tonight. Yeah. That one was thrown behind his intended receiver. 5th time a 3-and-out for the Clemson Tigers as you look behind Jimmy Mainers again. This should be returnable. Robert Dunn, he spent a lot of time adjusting on that ball. He looked like he had lost that one in the lights. 42-yard kick, 3-yard return. We'll return with Auburn up by 3 in a minute.
ESPN College Football, the Chick-fil-A Bowl, is brought to you by Farmers Insurance. To find an agent near you, call 1-800-FARMERS. And Campbell's Chunky, official soup and chili sponsor of the NFL.
This year, the Chick-fil-A Fan Fest consisted of a giant indoor pep rally featuring cheerleaders, mascots, and bands from both Auburn and Clemson, obstacle courses, rock climbing walls, all kinds of attractions for the fans to get pumped up for the game here at the Georgia Dome tonight. And as it stands, the Auburn Tigers leading the Clemson Tigers 10-7 here with 10:39 remaining in the third quarter. Brandon Cox, quick pitch to Brad Lester. Lester's in the open field. All the way to the 50. 30-yard run for Brad Lester. The junior out of Lilburn, Georgia.
Boy, look at this blocking. This is just a simple toss. But watch the blocking on the right-hand side of the screen. Look at this hole. All he does now is Lester just makes a left and back into the middle of the field, and look at this.
Nice job by that offensive line.
Burns now the handoff, and it's Lester again. Brad about 5 more on the carry. Lester, he returned from academic suspension after the 5th game of the season, and he's one of the local products. A teammate of Jeff Francoeur in high school at Parkview High School in Lilburn. How about
Jeff Francoeur being the
Atlanta Braves star,
Brave outfielder,
and he was a Clemson signee as a great football player and chose baseball. And here's his old teammates skidding inside the 40-yard line. I'm sure that Jeff is cheering for Clemson tonight in the game. Might even be at the stadium. I don't know.
Probably is. You know, you talk about coming out the second half and making adjustments. Auburn has done a much better job adjusting because first possession out, they take it down and score, and they're moving on their second possession right here.
I don't even know. Michael Hamlin got off the field for Clemson's defense. He was limping around, and now it's been Tate around. What a block. Tate inside the 30 to the 29.
Oh, Ness. Bob, I'm sitting here watching this, and you talk about Cody Burns, who is a true freshman. He's the quarterback that makes the handoff, but he's also the guy that makes the block. that allowed Fannin to get out back into the inside. This is unbelievable.
Well, Fannin got one heck of a block, too.
He did, too. But watch this here. Watch Burns. There goes Tate, but coming back this side, you're going to see number 18 right there in the picture. He's the guy that makes the block.
How about my man Fannin?
Fannin makes another
that
one.
Stock is soaring.
Soaring. I want to buy now before it's too late. Is it too late already?
Too late now.
All right. Second down and short. Tate. Nice job defensively by Clemson that time. And it was Cavell Connor, the sophomore linebacker, who made the stop. 2 big plays in the game in the Chick-fil-A Bowl. One an 83-yard touchdown run by C.J. Spiller, and the other a 22-yard touchdown pass. Here's the one of C.J. broke a tackle and then showed his sprinter speed down the sideline, and then it was Cody Burns in the rotating quarterback system with Auburn coming up with a 22-yard toss to Bob's favorite guy, Mario Fannin. Now Brandon Cox, the senior. The throw is low, but it's caught at about the 32-yard line. So again, both quarterbacks playing a lot tonight for Auburn in their new look offense, and this was the future throwing to another guy that's going to be the future. Those two, that could be quite a battery for the next few years, as Bob said. Rashad Jackson is the guy that is face down. We'll check on him. 10-7 Auburn with 8:09 to play third quarter. Rashad Jackson was able to get up and run off out of his own power, so that's a good sign.
Probably just got the wind knocked out of him, or a little scare maybe.
Brandon Cox on 4th and 3. Flush from the pocket. Here comes the pressure. He's got to throw it, and he's decked out there trying to get rid of the ball. And Clemson takes over on downs. Ricky Sapp let him have it when he let go of the ball.
Official on the sideline getting a lot of help from the coaches on the Clemson sideline. So yeah, he threw it away, You've got to have a guy deep, and that might be who he's looking for first. But he doesn't have time to wait. Yeah, everybody's covered. Everybody's covered.
Would have been about a 49-yard field goal attempt had they tried to go for 3. And Cox is woozy after that hit by Sapp, you can tell. So Clemson Tigers take over, trailing by 3, and start at their own 32-yard line. Grisham, the motion man, and now it's Harper trying to run it, and he's run right into his own sideline. He lost a yard. Zach Etheridge is the guy that pushed him out of bounds. Don't forget, before 2007 ends, you can witness an out-of-this-world jump. Robbie Madison attempts a world record motorcycle jump the length of the football field. New Year, no limits. New Year's Eve tonight in less than 2 hours following our game. Let's check it out.
You give Greasy another cup of coffee, he'll be able to jump that thing himself.
Well, C.J. Spiller had most of the yardage for Clemson. The rest of the 34 plays only have a little bit more than his one run. Harper throws the out and threw it out too far in front of his intended receiver.
Well, he had to throw it out there because if he threw it close to him, he was going to get that one picked off.
Walter McFadden was the guy covering Taylor. So it's 3rd and long, and that's been too often tonight for Clemson that we've used that term, 3rd and long.
Well, they are the leading scoring team in the outfit in the ACC, but they're going up against a pretty good defense in Auburn. Auburn is like the 6th scoring defense in the nation, only giving up like 17 points a game.
Clemson's defense a good one, 10th in the nation in scoring defense. So we knew this might happen, a kind of battle like this. Close game, low scoring game. Harper pump fakes once, comes back to his safety valve. It's Taylor, the guy he tried to get it to on the last play, but he doesn't get much, and it's going to be 4th down and about 5. So another punt coming up.
Well, look, I really like this Auburn defense. I mean, these guys, they're playing kind of man on the outside with the 2 corners, Powers and Lee, and the guys on the inside are doing a great job.
Jimmy Manners to kick. Robert Dunn has been an active return guy for Auburn tonight. He's done a pretty good job back there, sometimes making something out of nothing on the punt returns. This is a good kick. Dunn's got to really backpedal, and now he's got to let it go. Might not make the end zone's going out of bounds at the 4-yard line. Jimmy Maynard says, I'll take that one. What a kick. Auburn's deep in their own territory at the Georgia Dome when we come back.
Cart boy.
Brandon Cox in his own end zone. Going to air it out long down the right sideline and almost caught, broken up at the last moment by Chris Chancellor, intended for Preche Rodriguez. So, Paul, that's how it works, huh?
Yeah, well, you think it's easy? I mean, I got a guy down here, Cart Boy.
And, of course, Cart Boy is the infamous Bill Constable down there, and he's on the other end. There you go.
Now, see, now I can hear him, and now I know when we're going to go.
We got all the equipment in the world, boy, I tell you. We're going to talk to one of the brand new college football coaches here in a minute as Brandon Cox from his own end zone again has to throw out. Brad Lester makes the catch, broke one tackle, trying to shake his way out to the first down marker, but got only about 5 yards out to the 9-yard line. Want to welcome into our Chick-fil-A Bowl third quarter the newest head coach in the college ranks in this coaching carousel of an off-season or on-season we've had. Rick Neuheisel, a former star quarterback at UCLA. Hey, Rick, how you doing?
I'm well, Brad. Happy New Year.
Same to you, and I know it's a happy one, I'm sure, for you. We welcome you back to college football. It's good to have you back.
Well, I'm thrilled to be back. It has been a long 5 years, but I've learned a great deal, and I'm anxious to get started again.
Rick, you've been away for 5 years. 3 of those were in the NFL. How have you changed, and what have you learned, and what do you have a new approach, or what is your attitude now?
Well, you know, I'm eager to get going again, Bob. I feel like the NFL is a sophisticated league, and I feel like it's kind of a graduate school of sorts. And so I've learned a lot of football, but I always miss those Saturdays and all that goes into college football. So I'm really anxious to get going. It's just even doubly good that it's at my alma mater.
Has the power shifted in the Pac-10 since you left? That team across town, they've kind of grown a little bit.
That team across town is formidable. There's no question about it. You know, you can look at it 2 ways. You can look at it from the standpoint they have this, that, and the other thing, and so forth, or you can give them credit where credit's due. And there's a reason they've been successful. You got to tip your hat to Pete Carroll, and we're just anxious to see if we can get up there to that level and fight toe-to-toe.
You know, Rick, it's so ironic, and it's weird in the coaching ranks that the guy you're taking the job from is a former assistant of yours, and the guy that you left behind in the NFL lost his job today.
I know. It is a topsy-turvy business, and all of us in it kind of flow with it. But both men are great men. Carl Durrell and I are very close, and I know Carl's going to be back in the head coaching ranks in a very short order. And Brian Billick, I owe a great debt of gratitude for giving me the chance he did in Baltimore. And I know if Brian wants to, he'll be right back with a head post in the NFL in no time at all.
Ryan Shoemaker on the punt. C.J. Spiller. And Spiller goes to about the 43-yard line. You could use a few guys like number 28, Rick, C.J. Spiller. I don't know if you saw earlier, went 83 yards for a touchdown. So I guess the recruiting trail is the first stop. You're probably already out on it.
Well, I've watched Clemson play a number of times, and that guy is a really, really good player. Tommy's got a gem in him. And as soon as I pass this recruiting test, Brad, I'm out on the road, I promise you.
You got to pass the recruiting test. That was your problem. That was your problem in the first place. That was your problem in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? You have to learn from your mistakes.
So you're learning all the rules, crossing the I's. I mean, crossing the T's and dotting the I's, huh?
That's exactly right. We're going to do it right. See if we can't get up there and fight these guys across town.
It's got to be fun for you, Rick, and we'll let you go and let you get back to watch the ball game or get back to with your family, whatever, for New Year's Eve. Obviously, going back to the alma mater is always kind of cool, and having been the MVP of the Rose Bowl back in '84, seems like yesterday to us, but it's been a while. But it's going to be pretty cool to see those colors on you again.
Well, I'm thrilled. I'm taking all my boys to the Rose Bowl tomorrow. We're going to go out and look at exactly where we want to be here before long. And I can't thank you enough for having me on, and Happy New Year to all the college football fans out there.
All right, Rick, thanks a lot. Happy New Year to you.
Break out the sweater vest.
There you go.
All right. right, baby. I'll get one in the mail to you, Bob.
Okay. He wants the powder blue. We'll see you, Rick. Thanks.
All right, guys. Take care.
Rick Neuheisel. We always enjoyed his time with us when we did Washington or Colorado games, and now he's back as the head man at UCLA.
4 years in Colorado, 4 years at Washington. I think that's a great hire. He's won 66 games in college. He's an alumnus of the school. He played there. He's an energetic guy. He's got enthusiasm, and the thing that I like, he's got a little swagger.
And he can still play guitar.
Yeah, and in that town, you need some swagger, and it doesn't hurt to play the guitar.
Here's Spiller on the end-around pitch, and somehow he got the corner down the sideline. C.J. Spiller out of bounds with a first down for Clemson. How did he get away from the defense in that backfield? Looked like it was going to be a loss of about 6, and he turned it into 20 on the positive side.
Well, it's Antonio Coleman, number 52, and I think it's a guy that misses him, and he has him in the backfield. It's absolutely played perfectly on the outside. Look at this. He's got to play, and all he has to do is keep his feet and make the tackle. Then he just shows you. Phil just shows you his speed.
Well, it's just great individual effort. I mean, it's just, one-on-one out in the open field. A defensive end's going to get it. Here's the play.
Here's the play. They call it Panther. Grisham picks it up, and he's down inside the 8-yard line. We thought that's worked every time they've run it for a touchdown, and they've run it twice in bowl games. As Tyler Grisham kind of lines up behind the guard. Now watch this.
Right there.
Yeah. Here's the snap coming up, and then boom. Going to hand him up right under his legs, and then Grisham heads the other way. They call that Panther. It didn't work for a touchdown, but at least we got to see it. So we saw the little bunch return by Auburn on a kickoff return. Now we saw Panther.
Little trick play by Tommy Bowden.
Some tomfoolery, some hoax going on down there.
They got plenty of time to draw these things up.
And now it's Davis. They're trying a little bit of everything here, but they didn't get anything out of it. No gain. So back-to-back plays with a different twist, and still it's going to be second down.
I think that kind of stuff is good. I think it's good. I think the players enjoy it. It's like the Statue of Liberty play with Boise State last year. I mean, it's good for college football. The players enjoy it. It's fun.
I may have said second down and 3. It's 3rd and 2. I got my 2s and 3s backwards on New Year's, and all I'm drinking up here is bottled water. 3rd and 3. Davis got the blockers in front, got hit from behind, and that almost took him, and maybe did, to the first down marker. It's going to be very close. Craig Stevens hit him from behind and actually knocked him forward. James Davis looking for the spot.
Now this is 4th down. Now what do you do? And the guys look at the bench and they want to go for it. And the coach is saying, we're only 3 down.
Well, they better decide because the play clock's down to 15 seconds.
Colin Harper says, Coach, let us go. He says, okay, go ahead.
I guarantee you they're going to call timeout here. They can't let this thing go to
4th down.
Quarterback sneak, Brad.
There it goes. Harper, did he get enough? I think so. He kind of submarined behind his center and his right guard.
He just had to get inside the 6-yard line, which he did. It's 1st down. That's a nice call.
So now it's 1st and goal. Clemson trying to regain the lead. If you can distinguish the orange colors of Clemson and Auburn, you're a better fan than I. And watch Colin Harper now dig in. He knows the importance of offensive linemen. His daddy, Jeff, was a good one. He was on Georgia's national championship team with Herschel Walker and company in 1980. Cullen almost was going to be a lineman. Then his dad realized he could throw the ball. Said, son, let's try quarterback.
Yeah.
1st and goal. Davis broke 1 tackle. Weaves his way close to the 3. Trey Blackman made the tackle. It's 2nd down and goal. Will Muschamp looking on. His defense has played very, very well. As Tommy Tuberville told Bonnie going to halftime, one missed tackle cost him a touchdown because C.J. Spiller took it 83 yards. And now Clemson's knocking on the door again. They got a fullback in there now, Alex Pearson, with Davis behind him in the eye.
Well, if you're going to throw the ball, this is a good formation to throw it from. 2nd down.
The tight end is in motion. It's Davis bouncing out. I don't know if he got anything. Good job of staying home by Zach Etheridge, the safety, to make the tackle.
Will Muschamp was telling us when we spoke to him, he was with Nick Saban for 2 years down in Miami, and he says he learned a lot and really liked his time with Saban. I said, how was it this year when Auburn played Alabama? He said, well, I did talk to him after the game.
Well, now James Davis and Colin Harper in the shotgun on 3rd and goal. Harper hit immediately. Pat Sims, what a hit, and a loss of 2.
I'll tell you, Pat Sims, number 95, is playing in the middle. And this guy, every time he gets up, he's limping, except when he lines up on the ball snapped. And then he quits limping until he hits somebody.
But nobody blocked him. He was, nobody touched him.
He's all SEC first team. Made a big hit there. What a way to start the 4th quarter. We're going to have a 4th down to start the 4th in Atlanta when we come back. The Auburn cheerleaders, their defense just made a big stop on this play.
Watch Sims right here. I mean, good defensive play is one thing, but nobody blocks him. I mean, that's a blown assignment inside the 5-yard line will drive a head coach up a tree.
So Clemson had a 2nd and 2 at the Auburn 8. They ran 6 more plays and only got 3 yards, and they have to go for a 22-yard field goal attempt by Mark Buchholz to try to tie the game. And whistles blow before. I thought I heard a whistle before the snap. And there are penalty markers down. I think they're saying false start, so it's maybe going to be a 27-yard field goal attempt. Well, Clemson is pointing at Auburn.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter. It's only half the distance. They're not getting. They're still going to kick it.
Game. Defense number 94. An act intended to draw a false start by the offense. Penalty will be half the distance. Remains 4th down.
So
wait a minute now. If that's on the defense, why can't the offense accept the play?
Because the clock was stopped, or the play was stopped before the play.
The whistle came before the snap. So it was dead right there as soon as the whistle blew. That should have been the call. Anyway.
See, you're right, Bob, because Clemson's trying to say, okay, we want to refuse the penalty and take the field goal.
Yeah.
That's what Tommy is saying he wants to do.
It's a dead ball foul, though. It was before.
Okay, if it's dead ball, it's like the Patriots.
There isn't a play. There can't be a play.
It's like the Patriots against the Ravens a few weeks back. The right guard moved before the ball was snapped. I'll never forget that play.
There's a correction on the penalty enforcement. Clemson has declined that dead ball foul. The ball will be replaced back at the previous spot. It will remain 4th down.
Yeah, they don't want
to get any closer to the goalpost.
It's a tougher angle.
Right, exactly. So they're going to do it from the same spot as basically what they're trying to set up. So it's another 22-yard field goal attempt.
Yeah, this angle is tough enough without getting
exactly.
closer.
Buchholz from 22 again to tie the game. The kick on the way, and it's good. So one play into the 4th quarter. We got a tie game at the Chick-fil-A Bowl. Both Tigers with 10 as we head to the studio and Reese Davis. Reese.
All right, Brad, our midway home entertainment update this afternoon in the Sun Bowl. Jonathan Stewart of Oregon ran wild. A Sun Bowl record 253 yards as Oregon blew out South Florida 56-21.
Yeah, we saw Jonathan Stewart earlier this year, and he is some kind of load to bring down and great speed to boot.
We got some big games coming on around.
Including the Rose Bowl coming up tomorrow. Rose Bowl presented by Citi. USC against Illinois team that was very impressive all year long. Number 13 against number 7. And Illinois, one of the teams, the only team that was able to beat Ohio State in the regular season. 4:30 Eastern time, Rose Bowl game presented by Citi tomorrow on ABC Sports.
I'll tell you, that Illinois team is a well-coached football team.
They scored 29 a game. USC's defense doesn't give up a lot. Something's going to have to give tomorrow.
USC is one of the teams that everybody picked at the beginning of the year to be in the championship game. Then they got a few guys hurt in the middle of the season.
Moody included.
Lost a couple of games. And now they're coming back and they're playing as well as anybody. Illinois has built their team up during the year, and now these young kids, the quarterback and the running back and the wide receiver, are all playing really well.
Here's a kick. About 3 yards deep. Davis decides to take a knee. Let's check in with Bonnie.
Well, Brad, as you watch Auburn's new offense under Tony Franklin, just know that this was the system where at Troy, they put up some pretty decent numbers against 3 SEC teams. The Trojans played Arkansas, Georgia, and Florida, and even though they lost all 3 of those games, they actually put up more passing yards and more total yards than Auburn did against those same 3 teams. So, you know, Tuberville was thinking, hey, with lesser talent, they put up better numbers than we did. We get Franklin down here, and who knows what we can do.
And they got Cody Burns in there again. A quarterback now for this particular start of a drive anyway at the 20-yard line. Here's Tate. He was about 1 guy away from popping it to the outside and maybe getting a big gainer on it. All these Auburn backs, actually all the running backs tonight, have had their moments where they've looked awfully good. Here we have a tie ball game now, partner, and we head to the new year. And we're looking at overtime.
Maybe we can stretch this game into the new year.
We might be able to celebrate with you.
We got nowhere to go.
Well, some of us don't.
Well, you live here in town. You just got to go and get in your car and go to your place.
This is exactly what we thought this game was going to be, though.
Yeah.
A lot of defense, some really nice plays.
Yeah, it is. And both teams are playing good defense. And the bowl games, the half times are longer. Both teams bring their bands, and there's much more fancy stuff going on and everything else, you know.
So you get a little bit rusty at the beginning because you haven't played, and then you almost get rusty because you wait a half an hour at halftime to come out for the 3rd quarter. Yeah. Paul, we got 14-15 left in regulation.
You know, I know they haven't scored a whole lot of points, but I really am impressed with the way Auburn and their offense, you know, they've come around. What did you say, Bob? There was like 7 days of practice total to put a brand new offense in, a spread formation that these kids have never seen before, and have 3 true freshmen on the offensive line. I think they've done a terrific job.
Here's the old guy of the group, Brandon Cox, running for his life, trying to find a receiver. Tipped and intercepted by Clemson. Everybody's got a hand on it. I think it's Cresden Butler that's on the bottom of the pile.
Well, Butler is the guy that actually hits the ball first. He hits the ball, then he hits it into his own man, and then takes the ball back away. So Butler causes the interception, or causes the ball to be batted up, and then gets it himself. Watch number 18 is going to be Butler. First of all, this ball shouldn't have been thrown into this crowd. But anyway, here comes Cox when he throws this ball out. Now watch number 18. He's going to hit the ball up in the air first. Boom. Now watch. Bing. The ball comes back, and then he catches it. It's kind of a neat play.
Serendipity. And a turnover, the first one of the ball game.
It's one thing that Clemson has been good at all year, takeaway versus giveaway. That's their plus 13 on the year for the giveaway takeaway ratio.
So now they've got an opportunity with the turnover to take the lead. C.J. Spiller that time on the run. That was some kind of interception. Wow. So it's going to bring up 2nd down. Under 13.5 minutes to play. 10-10 tie. Sims. Pat looks a little gassed right now as he heads to the sideline. There's Stump. Josh Thompson, the defensive captain.
Stump. 6 foot, 300 pounds.
Auburn trying to take it wide. Just not enough real estate there for Spiller as he's bumped out of bounds. And Josh Thompson, another Georgia native, just loves playing nose tackle.
I guess no glory too much. Just go in there and stuff the hole and hold the offensive line off the linebackers, and hopefully they'll make the play. You know, I've made some plays this year, had a good year, I think, but I don't know, it's just tough. Just a fight every play, I guess.
There he is, Stump.
Hey, Ness.
Trust me, he's not 6 feet tall, folks.
How do you spell it? Plug the hole. Don't you love him?
Stump's out of Statesboro, Georgia, home of the Georgia Southern Eagles, playing for the Auburn Tigers. Kellen Harper lofts one for Kelly. Got it inside the 5.
Boy, I'll tell you, this is a play where you talked about Kelly all through at the beginning of this show, Grease, and you talk about total concentration on the ball. This was all Kelly.
Well, they've been fighting all day, Lee and Kelly. This time, Kelly comes down with it. You got to get the ball to your playmakers. You may shut them out for a while, but you got to keep going back and giving them opportunities to make plays.
So it's 1st and goal for Clemson. Spiller, the tailback. Tigers trying to take advantage of the interception and get the lead. Spiller, left side, fighting, but he won't win the battle with Zach Etheridge. Etheridge has made some nice stops from his safety spot in this ball game.
Did you see Zach Etheridge actually pick him up and throw him backwards?
If you're just joining us, tie game. The SEC and the ACC represented here in the Chick-fil-A Bowl in Atlanta. Sold out Georgia Dome. Clemson 10, Auburn 10. There's the total yardage. Clemson trying to just add about 5 more on. That's what they want right now. 2nd and goal.
Unbalanced line to the right. They're going right, Brad. They're going right.
And they fake it, Bob, and now it's play action. Spiller out there, and he can't make the catch. Well, that's the down that you want to go play action.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, they did go right, but it wasn't a run. So now it's 3rd and goal.
Look at this. Clemson now, they've got, here comes 4 new guys.
All wide receivers, or 2 of them. 3 of them are. Just outside the Auburn 4-yard line. 3rd and goal, Clemson. 12 minutes remaining in the ball game. James Davis.
There's Kelly.
And Grisham. And Kelly is out wide to the right. Now he comes in tight on the right side. The tight end moves that way. Shotgun for Harper. Over the middle. Complete to the 1. Down to the 1-foot line.
All the ball has to do is break the plane of the goal line.
Bob, this ball does. Watch how close this ball comes. I'm sitting here looking at this thing. Now watch how close he gets. He stretches, and the ball does not make it. It does not touch the line.
Here comes some extra beef for the Clemson Tigers, including Pearson, the fullback. They converted a 4th and 1 last drive. And now they're going to take a timeout.
The problem with Clemson, they don't have any big backs. Well, Davis is big. He's 210, but Spiller is 180.
So there's an official review going on the previous play of Aaron Kelly's.
But if you look at this thing right on the goal line, you're going to see that this ball does not touch the white line.
Maybe his knee hits early, though, Paul. Let's check it out.
He stretches, but the ball still does not hit the line. He wasn't close to the line. The ball is spotted perfectly.
You know, if he's not 6'5", it wouldn't even be close. But that's how far he stretched.
Yeah, but I happened to be right on the line.
Here's a good look at it.
Yeah, that's a good look. Yeah, I think they got it right. I think it's just outside the goal line.
He tried to kind of roll it forward once he landed. I think it's actually closer than what they have it right there. I think the ball should be about 4 more inches closer to the goal line, but not across the goal line. But the review continues.
But they had to react on quick time, and you've seen it 16 times.
Right, exactly. Clemson comes out and put 2 receivers to the right side, but it's James Davis in the backfield.
I like going for it here because if you don't make it, should you not make it, you leave them on their own doorstep. Your defense can come back out and play. And if you do make it, you get 7 points, and that's a big climb for Auburn.
Now the officials, the referee has gone over to talk to Tommy Tuberville. Meanwhile, guys like Stump are trying to dig in right here on a 4th down and less than a yard.
This is college football, and every play is reviewed. Every play is reviewed in college football, and if the guy upstairs looking at this needs more time, he'll buzz down to the official, Jack Woods, there, and say, hey, let me take another look at that. And that's probably what he did. And now Tommy Tuberville is saying, what did he see? I want to know.
If I were Tommy, I'd leave it alone because the ball's further away than it should have been. I mean, I wouldn't even argue with these guys.
That's what I mentioned is I thought it was about almost the length of the football closer to the line than it is. As is, it's 4th down. The last time it was 4th and 1, it was a quarterback sneak. Do you risk that here, Grease? Or do you give it to your tailback?
Who's you got Davis in there? I give it to the tailback.
4th down. Trying to take the lead, the Clemson Tigers.
Going left, Brad.
They are going left, Bob. Touchdown, Davis. James Davis, a 1-yard touchdown, his 10th of the year. Remember, he's another one of the local products from Atlanta. So back in his hometown, he has put his team in front, and Buchholz's extra point is perfect. They take advantage of the interception.
It's a nice call by Tommy Bowden, too, to go for the 7 instead of the 3.
Clemson Tigers lead the Auburn Tigers by a touchdown. 10 unanswered points in the last 3.5 minutes, and for the first time tonight, they have a touchdown lead. Buchholz will tee it up and kick it to Patrick Lee and Tristan Davis. So now Auburn, with their new offense, has to play from behind by 7. Lee fields it at the goal line. Patrick Lee cuts back to the middle of the field. Nice return. Got out to about the 29-yard line. Let's check in with Reese Davis. Reese.
All right, Brad, time for a SportsCenter 30 at 30 update. And the coaching carousel started in the NFL. Ravens fire Brian Billick after a 5-11 season, one in which he lost to the Dolphins. Billick won a Super Bowl with Baltimore, but never really mustered a great offense there, so he is gone. Trailblazers have won 13 in a row. They go down to Utah. That despite 36 from former Texas star LaMarcus Aldridge. SportsCenter on ESPN 2 at 11. Stay current, ESPN News.
All right, Reese, thanks. Hey, Bob, do me a favor. Don't ever give me a vote of confidence, okay? Is that one of Brian Billick got 2 weeks ago? Didn't last very long.
Just a couple of weeks ago. Got him 2 weeks.
Yep. Tony Burns at quarterback for Auburn. Fannon's there with him. Here's Fannon. And then Burns on the keeper out to the 35-yard line. You can tell this kid knows how to run this show.
Yes, yes. He ran it in high school. And Tommy says that he's recruited a junior college quarterback already that's ran this system the last 5 years. Right. So it's going to have some competition for Burns in the spring, and this offense will be running a lot smoother next fall.
Here's a play action high pass, incomplete, intended for Fannin. You saw that graphic statistically that Auburn has lost 3 games in which they led in the 4th quarter. Of course, in this case, it was 1 play into the 4th quarter, or a couple of seconds into the 4th quarter. Nonetheless, they trail now by 7, and the Clemson Tigers defense trying to gear up their fans here at the Georgia Dome, and they're coming to life. 3rd and 5. Now Auburn stands, looks over to their sideline again.
There's 25 guys giving signals over there. I wouldn't know who to look at.
Brandon Cox is going to run it, and Cox takes it for a 1st down. Not exactly Brandon's forte, but he says, you know what, I'm playing my last game. Here we go.
You know, this is an excellent call because they're not expecting him to run with the ball. You got 3rd down and about 7, and here goes Cox. He's back there. He's not noted as a runner. And watch the hole to the right-hand side here. Nobody expects him. The blocking is super, but nobody really expects him to be running the football, and he's got the 1st down easily.
Now here's Burns back in there, and Burns, this time they wrap him up. He loses a couple that time. Let's check in with Bonnie.
Hey, Brad, real quick. Clemson is going to have to do without their junior safety, Michael Hamlin, the rest of the game. Hurt his left knee, and he is out. He is their team captain and somebody they definitely like to have in their secondary as this game winds down.
He was our guy you saw in the opening of the show, saying it's going to be a long night. Well, too bad it's a long night for Mike. 2nd team All-ACC performer, and his night is over. Brandon Cox throws out complete. Robert Dunn at about the 47, run out of bounds after a pickup of 7.
You know, you guys were talking about Cody Burns as a true freshman at quarterback. Yeah, I don't know, the Grease, did you mention the fact that this kid, Chris Todd, that they have at junior college is coming in to Auburn, and this is a pretty good quarterback also.
That's the guy that Bob was just talking about that's run it through high school and junior college for 5 seasons. So he'll be, along with Cody Burns, very much in the competition in the springtime over in the Plains to see who's going to be the Auburn starting quarterback next year. 3rd down and 5. Brandon Cox, deep sideline, got done. Out of bounds at the 34-yard line.
That was a great throw.
Sure was.
You talk about Brandon Cox, the 5th-year senior, not being a guy that can run real fast or do a lot of things, but he can make plays at critical times. Accurate thrower, lays it in there just when you need it. Over the short outside defensive back and inside away from the safety.
Burns again spinning his way down to the 30, 5 more yards.
You know, they should be able to run the ball, and I said should be able to, because if you look at Clemson's defense, they got 4 down linemen, and the next guy, which is a linebacker, is off the line of scrimmage by about 3 or 4 yards. They're playing for the deeper pass and really opening a place for them to run the ball.
Got a bunch of itchy guys over there.
Here's Lester. And Lester's going to be very close to the 1st down on that little toss sweep. You know, we've been talking all night about Brandon Cox can't do this, Brandon Cox can't do that. We said to Brandon, what can you do? What are your strengths?
My accuracy, throwing the ball, and just managing the game. You know, I'm not a flashy quarterback. Don't run the ball. Don't have a great arm. You know, my strength is managing the game.
Right now he's managing Auburn down near the red zone at the 23-yard line.
He just ran the ball and just threw an accurate pass.
Thrown it to 10 different guys too. Here's the toss to Tate, and Tate got the corner. He shows some power. Tate, when he gets out there and gets in the open, he only weighs about 210, but he's pretty put together. So at about the 16-yard line, Capital One Bowl week, news and notes.
Yep.
BC got another one, 8th straight bowl win for them. Joe Pa in his 500th game won his 23rd bowl game. Florida Atlantic won their 1st ever bowl game. 10th play of the Auburn drive, and Burns back in at quarterback, and he's just going to take off up the middle, and Burns on his way all the way to the goal line. Did he get there? Not quite.
Now here's the situation when he was falling backwards. Cody Burns was falling backwards. If he had just stretched the ball out, he would have scored a touchdown. But this is just an outstanding run. Watch this run of his. He's going to get hit about the 10 right there. He spins. Now look at this. When he's leaning backwards, if he just leads the ball over, he's got it.
1st and goal. Burns stays in there at the 1. Tate, touchdown. You know what I'm thinking, guys and girl? I think all that rust took about 3 quarters to come off these two teams. We're an extra point away from a tie game again. Wes Byram, an all-important point after. Kick is up and good. 17-17. Tigers 17. Tigers 17. First, Cody Burns. Got it down close, about as close as you can get it. And then Ben Tate says, thank you very much from a yard. Auburn and Clemson at 17 even.
ESPN College Football, the Chick-fil-A Bowl, is brought to you by Chick-fil-A. We didn't invent the chicken, just the chicken sandwich. The new All-Jeep Liberty. And Duracell, trusted everywhere.
The peach drop will happen in about an hour and 10 minutes here in Atlanta. An 800-pound peach. It's going to take about 65 seconds to go down, and then it's going to be 2008 over underground Atlanta, and there'll be about, I don't know, they expect somewhere between 150 and 200,000 people down there. I don't know if they're counting all the folks in the Georgia Dome and all the folks that are at the concert over at Phillips Arena, but it's going to be packed out there. 17-17. 8:27 remaining in the ball game.
What a drive for the Auburn Tigers, huh?
It was something. 70 yards
only
in 11 plays.
Yeah, only 3 minutes to do it.
They used both quarterbacks very efficiently. Byram's kick fielded at the 5 by Spiller. C.J. Spiller, give him a crease and you can say goodbye, but they're going to bottle him up finally as he got across the 35 to about the 36-yard line. Just don't forget, before 2007 ends, you can see an out-of-the-world Robbie Madison attempting a world record motorcycle jump the length of the football field. New Year, no limits, coming up immediately following our game out from Las Vegas. So now Clemson would love an 8-minute, 19-second drive that gets them any kind of points, and they can head back to Death Valley as Chick-fil-A Bowl champions. Auburn's got other ideas. At the 36-yard line, 4 wideouts for Cullen Harper. Kelly in motion toward the ball. Harper with the pitch fake and the pitch out on the sideline, completes it to the 40, out to LaDante Harris. Pickup of about 5.
We talked about Cullen Harper earlier in the ball game, and what a great year he has had, starting for the first time. This is his 13th start, 9-3 on the year, 27 touchdowns, only 6 interceptions, and all of the material he's got to work with. This kid has really had a great year. He's only a redshirt junior. He'll be back again next year.
Here's Davis. James Davis trying to cut it outside. Picked up what he could. About 2 yards short of the first down. Bobby Bowden lost today. Tommy Bowden is trying to win today. We talked to him about what he learned from his dad and about this coaching business.
It'd be the 2 words that my father told me when I flew off to East Carolina for my first full-time job coaching the secondary. He'd mentioned patience and perseverance.
He's persevering right now. It's hard to have patience in the last maybe time you handle the football all game. It's 3rd down and 2. A big, big 3rd down. Davis. I think he got it. He says he did. And the officials are going to agree.
You know, Brad, Grease had talked about Harper's production in his first year, and I bet a lot of Clemson fans were thinking, man, when Will Proctor was struggling last year, why didn't they just put Harper in? Harper has always taken the high road with that situation, but he really made the most of his time as a backup. He watched how Proctor handled adversity and did the same thing with Charlie Whitehurst, really. But when you think about the fact that he came from a high school program that didn't throw all that much, that extra wait time really gave Rob Spence a chance to teach Harper how to get rid of the ball more quickly, and that's been a big asset for him.
He didn't throw much at Sequoia. He's going to take a timeout here as they want to make every play count in this drive. Can they drive it for a score to win? We'll find out when we come back. The 3rd largest crowd in Chick-fil-A Bowl history, in 74,413. And when you consider all the SEC title games and the Super Bowls in here, last year's Chick-fil-A Bowl set the Georgia Dome record, 75,406. So we were close to it tonight. And now an all-important drive for both teams. Clemson's offense, Auburn's defense. 1st and 10, Clemson. Its own 47. Harper back to throw off play action. Fires near side. One hopped it, incomplete, intended for Aaron Kelly.
Yeah, that's on Harper. He should have had that ball a little higher for him, and he made it a tough catch for Kelly.
2nd down and 10.
There's Rob Spence, the offensive coordinator. He gives a lot of credit. Should get a lot of credit for this offense for Clemson. He's developed this quarterback. He's developed the system. A lot of new things. You never know what you're going to get when you play a Spence offense.
Number 2 offense in the ACC and the number 1 scoring offense in the ACC. Here's a slip screen. Got it to Taylor. And Taylor, a big guy, goes inside the 40 to the 39. He's a 240-pound receiver. Pickup of 14.
And when they hit Taylor with this ball, it's that little screen to the outside. It's a quick pass, and just watch what he does. It's just straight ahead. He's there, boom, and once he sees that thing, I mean, he's moving. He isn't really fast, but I'll tell you, the first couple steps are pretty good.
You know who tracked him down?
So he tackled him, didn't you?
Josh Thompson, the stump. Our guy, number 97.
That defensive tackle is second on the team in tackles. I don't think we've ever had that in all the years we've been doing college football.
Davis hitting the backfield and hanging on to a jersey for dear life is Merrill Johnson. He wouldn't let go. His fingers might be sore, but he had enough of James' jersey to keep him from getting anywhere. Loss on the play.
We're talking about 97, Thompson, a defensive tackle, being the second leading tackler on the Auburn defense. That just doesn't happen.
Josh is a Auburn academic scholar as well, and he was up on the stage with me the other day. That's why I said if you really think he's 6 feet tall, he is 301. I'll give you that. But I'm telling you, Stump's not 6 feet tall.
He loves to feel a hole. Feel a hole. I like to know how he spells that.
Second down at 13. Harper in the shotgun, has a look. And he's in trouble, and down he goes. Pat Sims, the other defensive tackle, along with Senderick Marks. And a loss of 7, and that's something Clemson really didn't need.
Well, the thing about it is these two linemen, Marks and Sims, 94 and 95, just took the offense back to him. Because I'll tell you, Harper had no chance. Watch this. Look at this whole thing collapse in front of him. And that number 95 is Pat Sims. We've watched it. Every time he gets up, just take a look at it. He just limps until he lines up, and then he goes full speed.
4 tackles and a sack, and now Clemson's way back at the 49-yard line. 3rd down and 20. Even to get it to a field goal shot, they got to get it all the way to the 35 probably. Now Harper's in trouble again. They've got him again. This may not officially be a sack because he dragged the ball back to the line of scrimmage, but it's 4th and a bunch.
Boy, they had, again, defensive lineman. They changed with number 91, Jake Ricks, and he's going to come up and put the pressure on. He's the guy that forces Harper to move back up into the pack. Look at this. You see Hicks right there, 91? Just an excellent, Ricks, I mean, what an excellent job.
Now Jimmy Maynard has got to give it up. Punting to Robert Dunn. He's back at his own 10-yard line. Maynard's hung it up high. Dunn's going to get out of the way. Will the ball make the end zone? It rolled in and rolled right back out. It barely made the end zone. Boy, about 1 more yard. If that had landed the same way, that it rolled right back out to the 2-yard line. 4 minutes and 11 seconds remaining in regulation from the Chick-fil-A Bowl in Atlanta. Brad Nessler, Bob Greasy, Paul McGuire, Bonnie Bernstein, and our ESPN crew. Just before the new year, this is the final football game of 2007, and it turned into a good one here in the second half with a lot of scoring going on at the end of the 3rd, the beginning of the 4th quarter. Now it is Auburn Tigers' time to take the field offensively. If they put together the kind of drive they did the last time they had the ball, they could win this bowl game. They've got 4:11 to work and 2 timeouts. Cody Burns, the freshman, is in at quarterback at least for this play. Tate, nothing there.
And Auburn has had the short end of the stick as far as average starting position in the second half. Their average start is their own 19-yard line, whereas Clemson was near midfield for the second half.
2nd down and 10. There you see all the coaches on the sideline all making different calls. Only one of them is the guy they're really paying attention to. Here's that toss to Tate. Tate almost got in the open. As it is, a flag goes down as he rumbles out. I think it's going to be a face mask on Cresden Butler, which will add to that run of 16 yards. And Tate is face down. Face mask down.
I'd say he had a blocker out there with him, which was Smith, number 80. And then maybe on him.
Number 80. 10-yard penalty from the spot on the foul. Replay, 2nd down.
So it is not a face mask. It's an offensive penalty on Rod Smith, who was out there trying to block for Tate. Let's check in Las Vegas to Joe Tessitore. Joe.
I'm Joe Tessitore. There's Robbie Madison. He admits you can't help but being just a little bit nervous. Quite an understatement considering that later tonight he'll risk his life and try to jump further than anyone ever has. Can he do it? Find out after the game on New Year, No Limits.
All right, Joe, we'll see you when our game is over. The game might be over for Ben Tate, although he's being helped to his feet or very close to it right now. Had a good-looking run there, but it's going to be negated by the holding penalty of the guys out in front of him. Capital One Bowl Week featuring over 20 bowl games in 12 days on ESPN and the Family Networks continues tomorrow. Wisconsin Badgers take on the Volunteers of Tennessee in the Outback Bowl. Part of Capital One Bowl Week on ESPN, 11 a.m. Eastern Time tomorrow. Now, that was a spot foul, an 8-yard gain, and then a 10-yard penalty. So it is 2nd down and 12. Cody Burns and Brad Lester in the backfield for the Auburn Tigers. And now again, they look up, they look to the sideline, they get back in their respective stances, and it's still 2nd and 12. Burns keeps it himself, hurdles over one man and got out across the original line of scrimmage, picked up about 5. 3:15 remaining. As you can see, Auburn's got 2 timeouts left, so does Clemson. Tie game at 17.
Yeah, Auburn is in no hurry. They've got all the time on the clock that they need to move this down. In fact, they just want to take their time.
Brandon Cox back in. Both quarterbacks have played extensively tonight in this new Auburn offense. They need a 3rd down here from Brandon Cox. Quick throw out to Fanning. Looking for a blocker. Can't find one. He's about a yard short of a 1st down. Picked up 6. But more importantly, they're a yard shy right now. That, if Auburn, if they had to get down to that green line, that would be a long ways to go to get a field goal attempt. And on 4th and 1, they're going to have to punt it away. And now Auburn will go to its dual return grouping again of Aaron Kelly and C.J. Spiller, hoping that Shoemaker can't kick it away from both of them.
Yeah. I'd kick this baby out of bounds. I'm sorry, Brad, out of bounds. I wouldn't give it to either one of them.
Shoemaker has had one very bad one tonight. He kicks this one, trying to keep it away, as Paul said, and he's going to be successful, and it's a good kick. Spiller tried to track it down, but it went all the way down to the 25-yard line. 46-yard kick. Special teams on the night. There's been some missed field goals, some opportunities. There's one pushed to the right. And here's one that just did a knuckle job after takeoff. So each team has had opportunities.
Defense of the field goal kickers, all of those have been 45 yards or more.
Right. And now Buchholz is up, twirling the football. He wants a chance to be the guy. 1 for 3 tonight, but his team has got to take him down the same distance we basically just showed you about Auburn. And there's only 1:51 left in regulation. Clemson 2 timeouts. Cullen Harper trying to get Tyler Grisham in the right spot. Finally got him in a slot on the right side. And he goes to him over the middle, and it's incomplete. 2nd and 10.
You should complete that pass about 100% of the time right there.
Now you look at the line again, and the 35-yard line, you can kind of see the coloration. That's about how far they'd have to get to give them a shot at a field goal to win.
And don't forget about Aaron Kelly, number 80.
Both Spiller and Davis now will flank Cullen Harper in the backfield. The aforementioned Aaron Kelly's to the top of your screen. Taylor, the big fella, in motion toward the ball. Harper trying to drill it down the middle to him, and it's incomplete. Aaron Kelly in the first half, some near misses. Forgot to take the ball one time, had it stripped away from him, and then got a load from the sideline coaches, and things have gone a little bit better in the second half. That wasn't quite a touchdown, but it got him a touchdown. 3rd down and 10. Now you can't tell who's booing and who's cheering. Everybody's making noise.
Both teams have 2 times out left.
All 3 receivers to one side. Harper looks down the middle. It is almost intercepted. Chris Evans had his hands on it and couldn't hold it.
He really didn't see that ball coming to the last second, but it hits him right in the hands. I mean, he had with the perfect opportunity to make the interception. Watch where this ball is thrown. Chris Evans is backing up perfectly. He's right in the line of the quarterback. He's looking at his eyes, and here comes the ball. Hits him right in the hands.
He's a linebacker. He's not supposed to catch passes.
Oh, yes, they are.
Jimmy Mainers to have to punt it again. 1:39 left in the fourth quarter. Mainers, nice kick, but it could be returnable. Nope, fair catch taken right about the 36-yard line by Robert Dunn. So a minute 32. Auburn has 2 timeouts. Don't forget, new year, no limits coming up as soon as our game is over. But we don't know what the limit on this game is yet. There's the new offensive coordinator, Tony Franklin, with his offense huddled around him. Right now, they'd like to get it about 30 yards downfield, at least.
Whatever happens, I think Auburn is going to have something to build on offensively from this showing tonight. When they go into the spring, they're going to look back and says, hey, we only had 10 practices, a couple of weeks to put this in, and look how well we did. Let's go into spring and really learn this.
Cody Burns trying to stiff arm a guy in the backfield. Going to be run out of bounds for a loss of a couple.
You know what else is neat also, Grease, when you talk about building on it? Let us not forget they have 3 true freshmen on their offensive line and 2 juniors. I mean, you've got all of these guys coming back. When you say they're true freshmen, what, they've already played, this is their 13th game. So these guys are now pretty much veterans.
They bring in the veteran quarterback, Brandon Cox, playing his final game as an Auburn Tiger on a 2nd down and 12. Again, he looks to the sideline. The linemen back in their spots. Cox, the throw, and he zipped it down to midfield. First down to Robert Dunn. And he threw it on a rope for 16 yards.
He did, and it's a wonderful throw. And Dunn found a spot in the zone and just hung in there, and Cox drilled it.
So now they're getting closer. Another 15 or 20 yards to give their kicker a chance to try to win it. They hurry up here. Brandon Cox rolling out, throws on the run, found a man for 4 or 5. It was Rod Smith who tiptoes backwards out of bounds. Want to send out a special hello to a guy that would normally be with us and be a major help to us, Chuck Galena from the Sports Information Department of Auburn, whose dad passed away during the holidays. Chuck, our feelings and our thoughts and prayers are with you and your family, and we wish you were here. 2nd down. Your Auburn Tigers are trying to drive to win. Look out. Cody Burns got away from that guy somehow and throws out of bounds. The ball was caught by Montez Billings, but his foot was out of bounds, I think. And that stops the clock with 1:06.
You don't need to be going deep down the field now. You just need to pick up 6 or 7 yards.
You've got 2 timeouts. You got to move the sticks before you move anything else.
And you've got an excellent field goal kicker, a guy that made 2 field goals earlier in the year against Florida. To win that ball. Yeah, had to hit them both to win that ball game.
Brandon Cox, 3rd down and 6. Cox, quick slant. It is almost intercepted. Whoa. Chris Chancellor had it, couldn't hold it.
Boy, you talk about a guy, you know that old expression, getting a jump on the ball. I'm going to tell you, Chancellor, he can't believe that he misses this thing. Take a look at this throw. Here it comes. Look at Chancellor right here. I mean,
that's a case where the defensive back reading the route and goes for it better than the receiver went for it. Billings, the receiver, should have come in, kept coming on his slant, and went right to the ball, but he slowed up.
So Auburn got to Clemson territory, but now they've got to punt it away. 4th down and 6. Shoemaker hangs it up. Fair catch. Spiller had to take it inside the 10. Yeah. So Clemson's miles away with 55 seconds.
Yeah, a turnover anywhere now will decide this ball game.
Well, we've had fun, guys, and Bonnie, a year that has brought us a lot of special moments, some great games. We have the best crew in the business, and I just want to thank them. Everybody downstairs, everybody that was at my house Saturday night. Thanks, fellas, and all the guys and girls that have helped support us throughout the season. And
right.
we tip our caps to all of you.
Producer Bob Goodrich, director Don Del Vecchio, and all the guys up here, the camera guys, people that help us. We couldn't do it without them.
From the 8-yard line, Clemson, they'll keep it on the ground. They're going to play it straight here, and we're probably going to head to overtime. Scott Meadows, our MIT spotter. Clint Dean's our spotter up here. Pat McGrath, our statistician. Jason Polstein, our bug operator, our computer operator. Coordinators, Craig Rothberg. Stacy Seeloff's our stage manager. She's our mother hen up here in the booth with us all the time. Rob Sharp, our production assistant. Our associate producer, Anthony Holman. Brian Fahey, our associate director. Our associate producer, Chris Damiani. Technical manager Mark Towie, Johnny LaChance, our operations producer. Bob mentioned John Del Vecchio, JD, our director. Bob Goodrich, the best in the business, our producer. Thanks everybody, and everybody downstairs and in videotape and in the trucks, all the guys and all the camera folks. Yep. Great year, fellas.
Yep. Thank you, everybody.
And we are heading to overtime in the Chick-fil-A Bowl.
Is this our first overtime this year?
I think it might be. We'll tell you how that works when we come back. We're going to play some more. The new year's not here yet. The party's not over. Keep that champagne corked. We go to OT. 17-17. So how does it work? I know most of you know the rules of overtime. Coin toss for the choice of the offense, defense, or the end of the field. And that is a big bearing because most of the Auburn folks are to your left. Clemson folks are to your right as we view the field. You get one possession from the 25. Until a winner's decided, and you have to go for two, starting with that third overtime.
That's when it really gets exciting.
It does. Both teams had their chances.
We're going to have an overtime period. We're going to begin with a coin toss, just as we do to start the game. Now, your options here are going to be a little different. The winner gets to choose offense or defense, or the end of the field that we play at. Okay? You understand what your options are? Yes, sir. Okay, Clemson again. As the visiting team, you get to call the coin. What's your call? Heads. He calls heads, and it's tails. You've won the toss. Offense, defense, or end of the field? Defense. Auburn selects to go on defense. What end of the field would you like to play at? Play that way. Okay. Auburn, come stand over here. Clemson. Clemson will start the first overtime period on offense. First down.
You saw Cullen Harper say we want to play to our band and our fans.
Yeah, at our end of the field.
And Auburn wants to play defense first, as they always should. Let's check in again. Here's Joe out in Vegas.
We are getting ready for New Year No Limits live from the Rio in Las Vegas, Nevada, where coming up after the game, Robbie Madison, the 26-year-old Australian native, will try to break the all-time long-distance motorcycle jump record. You can see him making his final preparations, getting a massage now. He's going to jump a football field, end zone to end zone. I'm Joe Tessitore. Join us after the game for New Year No Limits.
All right, Joe. Some of the Auburn and Clemson guys are going to need a little rub down when this one's over because we're going to overtime.
You need a rub down to jump a football field?
Never hurts. Yeah. So here comes Clemson at the 25-yard line. Auburn obviously wanted to go defense first because then you know what you need, be it a field goal, a touchdown, whatever the case might be. Let's see if Clemson can re-gear their offense now. They had it going in the third quarter. They had opportunities in the fourth, and they couldn't take advantage of them. Harper too far in front of Tyler Grisham. Second down at 10.
If you don't gain any yardage, it's like a 42-yard field goal. Right from the 25-yard line.
But of course, you always want to get 7 when you can.
Now, as a quarterback, Grace, you know, because this is our first one this year, would you rather have the ball in the first overtime?
Oh, I'd rather have my defense out there knowing what we need.
Okay.
Second and 10. 4 wideouts for Cullen Harper. Quick throw and incomplete, intended for Aaron Kelly.
Did he catch it?
They're giving him a catch.
Whoa, they did?
Yeah.
Well, he got about 8 or 9 yards out of it. I didn't think he caught it. So that's one of his better efforts of the night. It's down inside the 17.
Watch him go down for this ball. He has to go all the way down near the ground. This is a nice catch, and then he turns.
Yep. Great job by Aaron Kelly. Now it's 3rd down and a couple. Both Davis and Spiller are in there. Davis puts his head down. Trey Blackman put him down, and it looks like he's got the first down.
There is no clock other than the play clock, so you're not in a hurry. So you can take your time. You can take as many plays as you need. You can make first downs, just barely make first downs, as long as you keep it moving toward the goal line.
They just barely made that first down at the 15. And then the tight end is the motion man. Nice play fake by Harper. Now rolls, wants to throw, does, got it to his tight end. Down near the 10. And that's Michael Palmer. Pickup of about 5.
It's good coverage by Brock, the strong safety. That was a good fake away by Clemson and Harper. But for Brock to stay with that tight end that long, that was pretty good coverage.
First catch by a Clemson tight end tonight. Auburn's got a few.
You know, and you look at both of these defense, you talk about great discipline on these defense. They're both very well coached.
We haven't had a lot of penalties tonight, a few minor ones. Incidental face masks, that type of thing. Davis puts his head down, now trying to back his way for extra yardage. They're going to give him to about the 7 or 8, right about the 8-yard line.
There's a whole lot of things I'd like to do, and run at Stump ain't one of them. The Stumper's right in the middle, man. He does a great job. He's got his area, and you're not going in my area.
Stump had a career-high 12 tackles in the win over Alabama. There he goes, trotting off. Another big 3rd down, 3rd and 3. Harper in the gun. Davis to his left. And he rolls that way. Wants to throw to the end zone. Finally lets it fly, and it's batted down. Walter McFadden got a hand on it. Now Clemson's going to have to send out the field goal unit.
Harper is really lucky on this play here, because this ball should have been picked off.
It's going to roll out so he can get a better view of this thing, but there's pressure in his face. And you're right, Paul, it could have been picked off.
Mark Buckholz 1 for 3 tonight. This is a 25-yard overtime attempt to try to give his team the lead. From 25, Buckholz, the kick. Oof, he just tucked it inside the left upright. Clemson on the board, but it was only a field goal. Tommy Tuberville likes that. Now he knows his team, a field goal to tie, a touchdown would win. Of course, a turnover would end it. So it's the Tigers and the Tigers, and everybody trying to get a Tiger by the tail here in the last few minutes of 2007.
Tigers versus the Tigers, Tommy versus Tommy.
Orange versus orange.
Orange and orange.
Where's the eagle? Where's the eagle?
You got two schools that are real close to each other. What did our friend Grizzard say? Louis Grizzard?
Clemson just like Auburn with a lake.
Yeah, Clemson's.
Here's Brad Lester, and he goes down. DeAndre McDaniel, a 2-yard loss. Tommy Tuberville looking on. Both Tommies also with new contract extensions.
Thanks to Auburn.
Thanks to Arkansas.
Arkansas, yeah.
That's right. Now it's 2nd down and long. You don't want to go backwards. That's not helping your kicker. 2nd and 13. Brandon Cox. Low snap, handled it, pumps, almost let the ball go, now backpedals and throws it out of bounds. Saves it for another play and didn't lose any more yardage. Had he gotten sacked there, That might have been the lights out.
Yeah, that was good coverage downfield, and he did the smart thing.
You know what you really like about it, Grease, is he didn't throw that ball where he was even close. He threw that thing over the banners on the outside. No one had a chance at that baby.
3rd down and a huge 13. They got to get a little bit of yardage somehow here. Now, this isn't going to help Wes Byram at all. Crowd roaring. Cox waits. Fires it deep out. He got his man down near the 1st down marker at the 15.
Wow. He didn't get it. He did not get the 1st down.
It's all right. He got a lot of yardage and making it for an easier field goal.
But what do you do here now? You've got 4th down in about, what, 6 inches?
You kick the field goal. If you don't make it, you lose the game.
They're leaving the offense out there right now, and they're running them up to the line.
And do I like this?
Auburn trying to play for the win.
This may be a no snap thing where you try to pull him off sides.
Cox, quarterback sneak, he's hit. I think he got it. Gutsy, very gutsy.
I love Tommy.
Just like another day at the office, huh?
Yeah, I love it.
Hey, Grace, he just put the ball in the hands of number 12.
There's 4 guys. There's 2 tackles, defensive tackles, and 2 linebackers inside the 2 offensive guards trying to stop that sneak.
Cody Burns in there. Van Tate pinballs his way down to about the 11. Courtney Vincent made the stop. Auburn, a touchdown, wins it. If they get stalled, a field goal sends us to a 2nd overtime. Lester comes back out into the Auburn backfield to join the freshman quarterback. 2nd down and 7. Lester thought he got face masked in the middle of that pile. Of the way his head turned around, he got 4 more. Brad Lester, again, a local product from Parkview High School, playing basically in his hometown. But a lot of these kids are playing in their home states.
And they know that at any time a turnover will lose the game.
Low snap. Burns fielded it, picks it up. Touchdown! Auburn wins in overtime. The freshman quarterback is the new star of the Plains. From 7 yards out, touchdown, and the first overtime in Chick-fil-A Bowl history goes to the Auburn Tigers by a whisker. Our Capital One player of the game. How about it? Cody Burns, the winning score, and he's the new hero in Auburn. But Brandon Cox, his 5th-year senior buddy at quarterback, had a whale of a game as well. Final score in overtime. Auburn's Tigers 23, Clemson's Tigers 20. Don't forget, coming up next, ESPN's New Year No Limits. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader.